Welcome to KG5 for round 10 BUPA TSL action. It is the Glenorchy Magpies up against the reigning premiers North Launceston. Quite a still day here at KG5, bit of a chill in the air and all set for what should be a cracking contest. Glenorchy in desperate need of a win off the back of 3 straight losses after a hot start to the season, whereas the North Launceston juggernaut keeps on rolling. I'm Damien Gill, alongside me is Brent Costello and the ever insightful Cam Brown.
Afternoon, Gilly. Looking forward to this one. We know Glenorchy is the only team to defeat North Launceston this season, albeit in different circumstances when North Lonnie had 8 players out of the side with gastro last time these two teams met at UTAS Stadium back in April. So they'll go in with some confidence. So I liked Paul Kennedy's comments during the week, the Magpies coach, that they don't fear North Launceston like some other clubs would. So really looking forward to this game, Brownie.
Yeah, look, be our first look at North Launceston for quite some time on the stream, boys, down south. So it's always great to see the yardstick of the competition. Really interested to see the response of Glenorchy to today, Gilly. Lost the last 3, I think, and have been in a little bit of a rut. So, as I said, the word response was probably going to be used by coaches and players alike this week, and it'll be a difficult task for them today against North Launceston. A few late withdrawals too from the lineup, which is interesting. So we'll go through those in a minute.
We will indeed, yes. 3 losses in a row. Their last win coming on Anzac Day up against the Tigers. So a little while since they've tasted victory, Glenorchy, and they're off to such a good start to the season. It got everyone talking about the boys from KG5 and what could be in season 2018. They've lost their way a little bit, but they'll be looking to return to winning form on their home deck. As you said, Brent Costello, they got the win last time they came up against North Launceston, but of course, food poisoning wreaked havoc that week with the North Launceston setup. Had a host of names out of the team, and it was a comfortable win from Glenorchy on that day, but we're going to get a much better look at, I guess, the difference between these two teams on this occasion.
Yeah, looking forward to it. A couple of big outs, as you alluded to, Brownie. The big one for Glenorchy is the skipper, Braden Webb. You can't underestimate what he brings to the team, and that means Josh Arnold will captain the Magpies this afternoon. Brady Quinn also out of the team, and they're replaced by Tom Morgan and Sam Berry. And North Launceston go in unchanged, but Dakota Bannister in the number 61 this afternoon.
Well, Webb's the big out for mine, boys. He's been one of the more consistent players of the competition. Captain of the footy club, we know he can win it around stoppages, really clever by hand and foot, and he'll hold on to the footy, won't he, before he makes a decision. Seems to have a lot of time with ball in hand, and he can also push forward and kick goals. So they'll have to pick up the slack a little bit more in the midfield there today, Glenorchy. But having said that, it's an opportunity for some of these other players that have been brought into the team for their first game for the season.
A tight one in the Mercury Cups just wrapped up. It was a 2-point win to the host Glenorchy. They'll be hoping that's an omen. 10-5-65 defeated the Northern Bombers 9-9-63. It's our first look at Tom Couch this season in the South, and he is a massive into this lineup. And I think it was at this ground last year against Glenorchy that he was a real match winner between these two sides.
Yeah, absolutely. He's a superstar, and they're absolutely rapt to have him back. We're not sure how many games he's going to play in total this year, but he's played a handful now, which is good to see. And Brownie, he's a superstar, isn't he, as I said?
Well, what a flying play. You couldn't wish for a better flying play. And we saw him a couple of times last year, boys, saying, play some of the best footy we've seen at this level over the last 5 or 6 years at TSL level, and his ability to win it on the stoppages. He's not blessed with necessarily breakaway speed, Tom Couch, but he just seems to read it off the hands so very quickly, can win it in contested ball, can get on the outside, good dangerous mark up forward when he pushes into that space, and is a very good kick for goal, whether that be a set shot or on the run. So he's got the full package today, and what an asset for North Launceston.
Just notice, boys, that Aaron Brennan is out there, or someone's in his jumper, because there's definitely a 38 out there for the Magpies. So whether there's another late change, we'll have to wait and see, but there's certainly a number 38 out there warming up as we speak.
Yeah, no, right you are. I've just marked that down wrong on your sheet, but Aaron Brennan is into the lineup.
What a stitch up.
There we go. So, captain across. Of course, Brad Cox Goodyear hasn't quite recaptured the amazing form from last season that saw him. He was our Dustin Martin really last year. Took it all by the storm, and He is the skipper, of course, with Taylor Whitford taking the reins as coach in 2018. What have you made of Taylor Whitford in charge of this team, Brownie?
Well, I think he was doing a lot of this almost on the job last year. I'm sure his coach in 2017, Tom Couch, certainly gave him ample opportunity. We know he coached from the sidelines, and so he had a pretty good apprenticeship, as they say. And he's been running into some really good form himself. So, look, he's been a decorated footballer at this level for a number of years now, boys, and has taken on the reins, and certainly from looking from afar, it doesn't look like they've missed a beat, have they? They lost that game earlier on the season against KG5 we've been talking about, and up at North Launceston to Glenorchy, and on that particular day they had 7 or out players, didn't they, with sickness. We saw them the week after, and they probably even looked a little bit flat on that occasion, so just a little bit short of energy levels and so forth. But no, you'd think North Launceston today would be fancying their chances against Glenorchy with a few late outs for the Pies. The interesting thing for mine today, boys, is we're a couple of minutes away from starting this one. Just when you look at the North Launceston forward line, they can get you from a number of different ways, Gillian. Even just purely looking at the leading goal kicker list, you've got someone like Tommy Bennett, who's kicked 22 goals, Zach Burt, 18 goals, Cox Goodyear 16, Tommy Couch 10, Taylor Whitford 10. They've got 5 players there that are in the top 10 or 11 goal kickers in the competition, so it makes it really difficult for the opposition to know where the goals and the avenues are going to come from.
Yeah, they're a well-balanced team, North Launceston, and they've got some real weapons across every line. It's a real treat to get them down here at KG5 up against Glenorchy, who was smarting after a three-loss run, and last week in particular they really had their colours lowered by Laulau, and a rather measured figure usually is Paul Kennedy, but at three-quarter time gave one of the almighty sprays last week. I think him and all at KG5 would be expecting a response today from the Magpies, and we know it's a storied rivalry between these two teams over a number of years now, and they always like to get the upper hand. So it's going to be a big contest, and it's going to be the start where Glenorchy are really going to have to fly out of the blocks here if they are going to take it up to what is the competition heavyweight in North Launceston. You're having a bit of fun there, Breno, just working out the team sheets.
I've been absolutely stitched up here by someone with all the wrong numbers, all the wrong names, and I don't know what's going on.
She'll be right, mate. We're about to be treated to a good contest, hopefully. That's the main thing. Glenorchy in the pink socks today, and you won't miss them, that's for sure. North Launceston, they're ready to go, all fired up and in position. Tips, fellas?
Yeah, look, it's hard to back against North Lonnie. We said that in the podcast during the week, Gilly. It'd be disrespectful to tip against them at the moment. They're going so beautifully well, and I think they'll win today. Not sure by how much. That's going to be the interesting part, Brownie, I think.
Yeah, I think North Launceston for mine, boys, but I think Glenorchy will certainly come out pretty hard in this game. They would have had a number of weeks looking at North Launceston. They've probably had some people following their form off the stream and replays of their game, so they've had plenty of time to prepare. Certainly, as we said, they'll need a response from what's been a disappointing 2 or 3 weeks for them. But you just think North Launceston with that class, and I mentioned that a couple of minutes ago, just the 4 or 5 different avenues they have who regularly kick multiple goal kickers. I think it's going to be a tough ask today for the Glenorchy defenders.
Bowden and Couch on each other here in the centre square, boys.
Superstar duo, that one. In the middle. That bounce favours Lee. He taps down. Cox Goodyear will help himself. Bustles through one. Hands off. Immediately claimed. It will be another ball up. Right in the centre square here at KG5. So it'll be balled up once more. Umpire Nick Butler. Up it goes. Lee and Duffy collide. Duffy with the honours there. It's from Rainbird. Thrown on the boot by Rowbottom. Coming in is Duffy, the big ruckman, wrapped up. And it'll be yet another stoppage to start this round 10 clash at KG5, the home of the Magpies. Lee down, Whitford almost, just slapped away by Walsh, or was it Couch? Couch rather. Cox Goodyear throws on the boot, getting no real distance, coming off the boot of Stevenson, back the other way. They pile on top. It's Cox Goodyear on top of that.
Early touch there to Jack Stevenson. We saw him play a couple of weeks ago for the Mariners, a bottom-age player. Certainly one Glenorchy will be looking to push through their ranks over the next couple of seasons.
Looking forward to this ruck duel this afternoon as well between Duffy and Lee, boys, as the game goes on. Here's the superstar, Jay Bowden, throws it on the boot. Up to the half-forward line for the Maggies. Daly collects the footy, juggles it, does well. And gets it off to Camrick, who's been in sensational form this season. Inside 50, spots up Rowbottom. He plays on quickly, puts it up towards the centre square. It's a bouncing ball. It's going to go across the face of goal, though, and stay alive. And over the boundary line, boundary throw in.
Yeah, Brody Rowbottom into the team today, boys. Just a player that probably lost his way a little bit last season, a former best first-year player a couple of years ago for Glenorchy, so he gets his opportunity.
So we wait the throw in. And Glenorchy's attacking into the ground here at KG5. Smacked down by Duffy. And now Camrick, can he collect the footy? He does. Juggles it into the air. Again, same spot, boundary throw in once more.
Boys, keep you on a great matchup. Just looking at it in front of us at the moment. Tommy Bennett on Harrison Gunther. We know athletically how hard he works. Tommy Bennett, he gets up on the logos. He can push back and be that deep forward as well. But Harrison Gunther's got some good athleticism. Should be a great contest.
Walker in the ruck here for the Magpies. Bombers with the footy. It's down to the ground with Ponting. And another ball up directly in front of the Magpies goal. We've gone 2.5 minutes in this opening term.
Another loss too, Gilly, is Grant today for Glenorchy. He certainly would have been picking up one of the premier forwards for North Launceston.
Of course, in the headlines during the week, this one's one down by Lee. Goodyear tries to claim it, gets a little bit of help from Event, comes out the back, handed off the boot of Walsh, usually a nice one. It's Duffy who floats across and takes a mark. So the big ruckman, decent start from the Magpies here. Sends a high ball, looking for runners to come. It's Rowbottom over his head. Rainbird taps it on. It's picked up by Roberts. He snaps. Doesn't get the journey. It was touched. And Foon claims. And there are races now. Pearce takes the mark. Oh, he's immediately claimed. He's got Ponting in support. He's wrapped up, able to go back to Tang. Tang inside, and they cool the Jets through Cox Goodyear. He looks to switch things up. Gets it across. Richter Solder. A little nudgy ball inside. It's picked up by Whitford. The coach looks out onto the wing. They've closed this down pretty well, Glenorchy. Just have to build here in North Launceston, and that's not going to help as the kick goes straight to Jay Bowden, his first involvement of the afternoon.
Great call then, Gilly. They were very well set up behind the footy, Glenorchy, on that occasion.
Puts it inside. Finds Arnold, who's the captain today. His long kick is an errant one. It's cut off. Foon, a little chipping ball over the top. Here's Couch. Couch now. Finds Tang on the outer side, the outer wing. Yet again, can't get any clear options and just kicks in hope, and Webb will cut it off. The only Webb in the lineup today is brother Braden now the side. Camrick now with hands to Joseph. A long raking ball. Looking for the little pocket rocket Daly. He's claimed in a tackle. Was it in the back? No, says the umpire. They'll work it out through hands, North Launceston. Event now. Claimed by Rainbird, and it trickles over for a throw-in.
Lucky not to get the free kick there, Brownie.
Well, potentially, you often see those ones paid. The umpire, in fairness, was in the perfect position to adjudicate.
So, no score. 5 minutes gone opening term. And it comes again. Tapped down by Lee. And now they're away here through Webb, but the ball smothered by Richter Solder. Couch, handball's out. And now they're away here, the Bombers. Pearce will run onto the footy, collects, tucks the footy under the arm, and eventually runs out of bounds. But put under some pressure there by Morgan.
Yeah, well done, Tom Morgan. I think it's his first game for the year, the former boy from St Virgil's. We saw his debut last year. Just came off his line there to put some pressure on. Well done.
Right in front of us, this ball in. KG5. Chilly afternoon, but pretty good conditions. Looks a little bit dewy underfoot as Couch puts it towards 50, but it's all Glenorchy, the mark taken by Jay Bowden. He's got some time now just to weigh up his options. He goes straight down the guts and hits Joseph on the chest. Joseph back in this team this year from Queensland, of course, played in the NEFL. On the far side of the ground now Yeah, we mentioned earlier, Glenorchy in the pink socks this afternoon. Ball picked up, and now they're away here, the Magpies. It's through Stevenson, gets it inside 50, but the ball trickles forward, but the whistle's blown as well. Free kick being paid here to the Pies.
He just got a shove in the back just as he disposed of the ball by foot there, Stevenson. Might even be against his Mariners teammate as well.
All right, how's the distance going to suit him here, Brownie?
I'd be right on it, I would have thought. He'd probably look for a spot-up lead if he can, maybe Mitch Rainbird.
So he goes for the short option. He looks for Walker, but it's all the Northern Bombers. And a nice mark taken.
Yeah, Thomas Donnelly was the Donnelly, was the player that infringed on Stevenson.
Here's Jay Bowden. Does nicely, puts it on the boot. It's just going to be offline though, minus score. So that's the first score of the afternoon. 7 minutes into this opening term. It's the Magpies by 1 point. And it comes again. Right, big kick into the centre square. North Lonnie control the footy. Intercepted and turned over, though, by the Magpies. They're going to get another inside 50 here. But again, all North Launceston to clean up. And they're out of defence once more, but straight to the opposition. Again, it's Stevenson. He goes inside 50. It's not a great kick and turned over once more by the Bombers. And they're away here. There's Cousins over the top to Ponting. Here's Zach Burt. Gets the handball away. And it's Casey Curtis inside 50. Bouncing footy. Well done, Harrison Gunther, to get it out of bounds. And it calls for deliberate.
Oh!
Has he been pinged? He has. So Tommy Bennett will get the kick.
A bit stiff there,
he's going to go and try and centre this up and looks for Cox Goodyear. Couch is there as well. Couch ends up with the footy, winds around, centres the footy, but well done, Glenorchy, and Josh Arnold takes the mark.
50.
And 50 as well to go with it.
So no nonsense stuff from the umpires. For two really good kicking teams, Brownie, they aren't showing their composure early in this one.
No, great call. Just the ability to find a target inside forward 50, and Bruno called Glenorchy with multiple inside 50 themselves. They just haven't been able to find a target, a marking target inside 50.
So Mott looks out onto the outer wing, finds Camrick. An underground handball doesn't find black and white stripes. Instead it's Donnelly. He goes away through Walsh. A little kick over the top looking for the running Bennett. Might just trickle out, and it does, with a little help from Arnold. So only the one score so far in this one. We're almost 9 minutes gone, and Magpies with the minus score, and that is the only thing that has troubled the scorers. So the ball back in. Lee jostles, wins the hit out, straight down for his runners. Bannister first. It went through his legs, and be another stoppage. So neither team able to get it on their terms just yet. Glenorchy coach Paul Kennedy would be happy with the start. Need to make it count on the scoreboard. They're on the bottom of this pack. It'll be yet another stoppage. No major breeze to speak of. Quite often there is a breeze here at KG5, but
yeah, zip, isn't it?
Pretty still. As Duffy paddles down. Comes out the back through Walsh. A flying kick inside 50. It'll go to the Magpies, and it's taken by Joseph.
He's actually juggled it, I think, over the line there, boy, so maybe a throw in.
It is indeed. So, ball to come back in. Attacking 50 for the Northern Bombers yet to get on the scoreboard. In the ruck was Bennett this time. Comes out the back to Walsh. An errant handball. Gunther with a little tumbling kick. They should make their way out of traffic here. Brennan now through hands onto the outer side. It's the youngster Berry. Kicks long, looking for Bowden, but he wasn't there to rise for it. Lost his footing. They'll switch it up here, the Northern Bombers. Through hands, move it into the centre. Event over the top has an option in Tang. He spins around, tries to move it on the wing. Not much red and black around him. They do okay. Ponting providing support.
Clever.
Good stuff. Paddling it on, just keeping it moving here, the Bombers. A kick inside 50 now. Looking for the target of Cox Goodyear.
Wow.
He takes the grab. That was terrific mauling footy, and he's off on the races. Smart stuff from Cox Goodyear. Puts through the first goal of the day.
Well, inside 50, we saw that a lot in September, particularly in the grand final, Gilly, and he's just so dangerous in those situations, and terrific opposition in Josh Arnold, but he was just able to protect the ball drop so beautifully. Smart play to go on and kick the first goal.
He's so strong, isn't he? We know how good a defender Arnold is, but yeah, it was fantastic work from Cox Goodyer right there, and that gives them a 5-point advantage here, North Launceston. The dominant team of the TSL so far in 2018. What has Glenorchy got up its sleeve this afternoon as we restart in the middle? Lee smacks it down. Rainbird, though, for the Magpies. Camerick. Got some great players, this Glenorchy team. And now Duffy takes the mark, the big ruckman. Plays on. Takes it to half forward. Mark taken by Berry. There he goes short and spots up his teammate in Parker. So another inside 50 here, and Jay Bowden couldn't take the mark. Event did well, and we'll have a ball in. Right in the pocket here for the Magpies. An intriguing contest this afternoon if you're just joining us. Braden Webb isn't playing this afternoon, the captain of Glenorchy. It'll be a big loss. And look at this from Daly. Bit of magic. No, not on this occasion. Out of bounds on the full.
He's a player they'll be looking to step up today, Daly. Rainbird's another one, just with Webb out of the side. Camerick gets more of an opportunity to get some centre bounce clearance and on-ball work. All those players will be looking to pick up the slack today.
So, big kick back in by the Bombers. Goes to a one-on-one contest between the two rucks and punch down. Pearce back to Lee, and now Couch. He explodes away. Hits it to half forward, and Cox Goodyer out in front again takes the mark. What's he got on offer? Not heaps, but plays on. Drives it long and high inside 50. And good work from Harrison Gunther there. So Gunther goes backwards to Rainbird. And it's a dangerous kick from Rainbird. Puts his teammate under all sorts of pressure. And now here's a chance. Oh, the goal umpire's been cleaned up there, but just the minor score. Free kick even, maybe.
The problem with the kick from Mitch Rainbird, boys, he just wasn't balanced when he delivered it. Kicked off one step, and the ball was just slow in the air. Nice defensive mark, though, from Harrison Gunther.
I knew you'd appreciate it, Brownie. You are an admirer. And here he goes, a big, long, raking ball looking for Roberts. Can't take the grab. Daly out the back. Hands off looking for Rainbird. He looks to burrow his way through. Cop one high from Donnelly. So he'll get a free kick. Releases the pressure valve a little bit. Walker tries to provide a shepherd and does. And gives Rainbird enough time to pick out Brennan. Brennan now, long down the wing. Daly, bizarrely, the target. Foon couldn't take the grab. Ground level. They all just clatter in. Rowbottom tries to get it out of there. Can't, it'll be a stoppage. Right part of the ground, though, for the Magpies. Approaching their attacking 50. Up again, Walker and Pearce. Cox Goodyear tries to just shake off 1, 2, maybe 3 tacklers. Couldn't. So another ball up. One behind, plays 1-1 early in this one at KG5. Glenorchy with a decent start. Cox Goodyear now rides the tackle, finds Ponting. They'll work it out through Sharman, the former Devonport captain, picked up by Walsh. Walsh hands out, finds the opposition. Bowden into Mott, who picks out Joseph. They look to switch it up. Goes long to Salter. Salter on the paint of defensive 50. A little kick over the top, looking for the run of Arnold. He gets onto it, but can only snap. A bouncing ball right into the breadbasket of Tang. He manages to get it out. Diving on top. Might be a free kick, and it is. So Reece Mott, wouldn't mind you just having a bit of a look at his role. Cam Brown, he was tagged out of it last week, and it was a big reason on why Lawlau took the chocolates. Goes long and strong to Salter. Out the back was Foon. Couldn't take the grab despite a decent jump at it. Hands out now, Tang. An Event. A long kick looking for Burt. He arrives, but a timely fist from the Magpies, and they'll work it away now. Joseph, a marking defensive 50. He's got an option all on its own, and it's Morgan. Morgan to Roberts, keen to get moving. Gets round one in Whitford. Throws it on the boot. Looking for Daly. Hits his chest and then lands in the arms of Cox Goodyear, and he's caught! You don't see that much, but he's gone. A great tackle from Berry. Laid in into this side. He hands off. Rainbird. Out in front of Walker. Too high for his arms. Camrick has a look. Can he snare it? Opts to go back to the square. Unfortunately, the matchup did not suit Daly. Good grab from Foon.
Jay Foon, superstar of this team, has been for a long time. Premiership player, of course, on multiple occasions. It's another Glenorchy turnover here. And they go in again inside 50. All North Launceston, though. So the kick's not great. And now here's the coach, Taylor Whitford.
No, the inside 50 wasn't great. Just blazing away, Glenorchy. They've just got to lower their eyes and show a little bit more composure with the football with their inside 50 entries.
Event got it to Sharman. And now some time and space here. The Bombers. Couch sells some candy, gets the handball over the top. Here's Pearce, throws it on the boot, bouncing ball. Anyone pick it up? They can. It's a Glenorchy player, though. And it's a dangerous handball. Couch sells some more candy. Walks and weaves, bouncing footy across the face of goal and through for a minor score.
They looked dangerous, didn't they, from that rebound inside 50. It came from the inside 50 target of Glenorchy, which was an errant kick, and they just whipped it up the other side. Breno looked very dangerous on that occasion, North Lonnie.
Big booming kick back into play. And now here come the Magpies through Morgan. Kicks it forward, but another intercept from Couch. A big, long, high kick inside. It could be a free kick. Umpire lets it go. And now Cox Goodyear. Handball's out. And now bouncing ball. Couch wheels around. A little too far. The kick, though, still alive. No, bounces out and a throw-in. So a good spot for North Launceston. Couch very busy. Cam, which we would expect nothing less. He's a star. We know that. So this throw-in will take place. Not too far around from the Bombers' goal. The margin, 7 points. Almost time on in this opening term. In it comes. Walker. Rainbird punches away. Who's there for the Bombers? Here they go through Whitford. Handballs backwards. And now Couch again. Gets it inside 50, but straight to the Magpies. So a bit of kick-to-kick going on here at the moment at KG5. And Glenorchy to work it out of defence through Joseph. That kick's bouncing towards the boundary throw-in.
That was a rare shocker off the boot of Joseph.
It was. You don't often see it, do you? I wasn't sure if it was smothered. I didn't quite keep up with that, but it just was a bad kick day, mate.
So the ball to be thrown in. Very little scoring going on in this game, which is remarkable given the quality of the two sides. The ball thrown in. Lee first to it, paddles down. Thrown on the boot was Webb. It's picked up and back the other way now. This is a high up and under. It'll take a flyer, and it was Pearce who did fly. Couldn't bring it down, though. Coming in was Mott. Underneath all that is Rainbird. It'll be a ball up again.
You're right, Damo. We'd expect a few more goals than one on the board, wouldn't we, heading into time one in the first quarter?
Just slowing up the scoring. Lee now. Straight down to Couch. He's immediately in a Camrick tackle, going absolutely nowhere. So a ball up right on the paint of attacking 50, hugging the boundary for the Northern Bombers. Lee and Duffy. Duffy down, almost for Rainbird. Then Cox Goodyear. Pearce slaps it on the boot, inside 50. Who will it favour? It bounces away. Ponting likes the look of it, can't pick it up. They should get out of here now, Glenorchy. Bowden arrives, does well, hands it off. Boot outside 50, and it's a bouncing ball, and they'll race away now. Kick blocked by Tang. Tang picks it up. Back for the defence. Foon gives and goes. Gets it back. Spots up Cox Goodyear. Just inside this square. Looks inside 50. He's got Burt out the back if he can get him. That's where he heads. Burt with a fly. Couldn't take the grab. Should mop up. Good tackle from Camrick. Duffy now through hands. Webb And they've worked that out pretty well. Glenorchy, it's with Berry. Berry to Gunther. Got time and space. Ignores Bowden and goes further. Bouncing ball. They'll work it along the wing now, Glenorchy. A goal here would be massive. Misses the target. They look to run away. It was a great tackle from Rowbottom. Sensational stuff. And he wins himself a kick. Inside he goes to Bowden. Bowden's got Camrick. That's where he heads. Bird almost. Didn't arrive in time. Camrick now. One of the big improvers in this Glenorchy side. Sends long. Inside 50 looking for Parker. It's down for the runners and that is Daly. Daly eventually lays claim to it. It's a high ball but it's all red and black and Event will help himself.
One of the difficult things is North Launceston are pushing numbers deep into their back half. They had 2 or 3 guys then setting up inside 50, guarding space.
So Cousins gets it inside, and now Sharman puts it forward, and Mark couldn't be taken by Gunther, but he has given away the free kick as well. So free kick going to Casey Curtis. Centres the footy, and now Cox Goodyer. What's he going to do? Goes inside, looks for Couch, and can't quite get there, but managed to get the footy. He wheels around, centres the footy. Pearce couldn't take it. Was he interfered with? He was. So free kick going here to Jake Pearce. And he'll go back now and have a shot on goal about 35 metres out, slight angle.
Well, both teams just looking to manufacture something offensively which will impact the scoreboard. As we've mentioned, just the 1 goal scored. North Launceston currently leading by just 7 points.
The important kick this one as we approach quarter time. Jake Pearce heads goalward and across the face there to the left actually, and minor score. So would love that one, North Launceston. 4 scoring shots to 1 as Jay Bowden plays onto himself. Big kick. Puts it to the wing. Pack forms. Walker. Couldn't get the footy. And now here's another chance for North Launceston again. Couch, he's so damaging. Another inside 50. Heads toward the goal line and Bennett flew. Hits the post.
There's a free kick.
Free kick. And it's going against North Launceston. So free kick will go to Gunther. Gunther kicks left to Arnold, and now Joseph. And the Magpies, can they score before this quarter time siren? Mott gets the handball away, but Couch again, tunnels the footy. Joseph. Bierman, back to Mott. Mott to half forward. And good mark taken by Event. So reliable.
It's not going to be a long quarter, boys.
It's
probably
not.
a minute and a half left.
Yeah, it can't be long as Ponting takes the mark. 8-point margin. Foon has the footy. Happy just to slow things down here, the Bombers. Cousins, and there it is. So quarter time here at KG5. Very low scoring first term. It's North Launceston 139. The Magpies 1 behind. 8-point ball game.
It was a bit of a grind, wasn't it, Gilly? And both teams had numerous inside 50 entries, but it was just marred by their inability to spot up a target that was able to take a mark. So we saw numerous times intercept marks, the opposition rebounding frequently from whoever had the inside 50 entry. So it was, both teams would reassess that quarter. They were both sort of set up very well defensively, but unfortunately either side wasn't able to generate any offensive positive ball movement, which was reflected on the scoreboard with some goals. So they'll reassess. Glenorchy, though, they wouldn't be too disappointed with that first quarter, even though they haven't scored. I know that's a strange thing to say, but North Launceston certainly didn't blow them out of the water. They look pretty well set up, and it's an even contest at this particular point in time. But I think it'll be the offensive and the foot skills that have probably be addressed by both teams as they go into the quarter-time huddle.
Yeah, that's it. Both teams usually pretty sure by foot, and that's where they've let themselves down today. The forward entries of Glenorchy probably hasn't worked for them because they keep pumping it deep, and it's all North Launceston time and time again. So Usually reading out the goal kickers is a bit of an arduous task, but just the one so far in this game. Bradley Cox Goodyear.
Yeah, that was a really smart mark inside forward 50, wasn't it? And we mentioned against really good opposition in Josh Arnold, who's the acting captain, as we've mentioned today, and he was able to play on and kick it from the goal square. But that's really been the only likely. I can't recall too many set shots for goal. I can't recall too many marks inside 50 from either team, Damo. So they'll hopefully address that and try and find some targets, both teams, that can catch the ball inside 50.
Well, I hope you're enjoying the coverage. It's a real arm wrestle here at KG5. We'll have a little bit of a break and be back for the second stanza, hopefully for a few more goals. Welcome back to KG5. This one is a bit of a dogged arm wrestle. It's one behind the Glenorchy Magpies to 1-3 Northern Bombers. Two really good teams with a fierce rivalry, but so far not a lot to speak about in terms of, well, the scoreboard at least, Cam Brown.
No, well, we'd certainly like to see, certainly for the game's sake, some real impact on the scoreboard from both teams, because there's some real talent, isn't there, particularly in North Launceston's forward 50. When we look down there at the moment, there's multiple avenues, so they'll be looking to try and get Bennett into the game, who's been pretty well held at this particular point in time by Gunter. Zach Burt hasn't been able to have an impact as yet. From a Glenorchy's perspective, you see Mitch Walker. They'd be looking for him. We've seen him kick 5 goals here going back early on in the season, boys, so we know he can do it. They're starting Mitch Rainbird as the deep full forward.
So ball back in the middle. So the first bounce of this second stanza. As we said, a real arm wrestle. Up we go. Duffy and Lee to the Premier Ruckman. Bowden emerges with it. Just raced on through. Gets the clearance. Kick inside 50. Positive start. Rainbird doesn't look to take the grab. Daly runs onto it. Can't claim it. Tang swung in a tackle. Rainbird hands out the back. Mott can't bring it back with a kick. And it's Foon who takes a grab in the back pocket. It's a good start from Glenorchy. Yet again, that last kick not paying off. Webb cuts it off. And out for a throw.
I almost thought it was set up for Reece Mott to swing around on that left foot.
Just couldn't curl it back, could he?
Yeah, asked about him early being tagged, Gilly. Early on in his career, certainly at underage level, he spent a lot of time inside forward 50, but now is pretty much a midfielder who plays 90% of his game time in the midfield.
Lee with a hit out, but it's Bowden who comes out with it. Cut off by Event. Trickling towards the boundary line, handed out by Tang. Foon pushes aside one and puts a high kick up. It's well claimed by Cox Goodyear. He's away. Whitford with hands. Couch now to Ponting on the wing. This is better from North Lonnie. That kick put the Mockers on straight away. Salter claims one in a tackle. It's Burt. He looks to mop it up. It'll be a stoppage. Centre wing, far side here at KG5. A minute and a half into the second term here.
Up it goes. Lee wins it down. Cox Goodyear wrapped up but gets the kick away. Hugging the boundary. Free kick will be paid here, I think, to Zach Burt. So Burt, obviously champion for North Launceston. Inside 50. And Arnold out in front takes the nice mark.
Gee, read that well, didn't he, off the boot, Arnold?
Always does, doesn't he? Jay Bowden. So classy out in the middle in that first piece of play this quarter. Duffy. Handball's off.
Thanks.
And inside 50. Banks Smith in the 16 this afternoon instead of the usual 35. And border grounds. And I'll have the ball up.
Yeah, he's been pretty good too, Banks Smith, in the first quarter. They went through him quite a bit. Was able to find some space on the outer wings.
So up it goes. Duffy slams it down. Mott gets boot to ball. Bouncing footy. Walker, was he interfered with? Umpire let it go. Here's Rainbird, comes through and kicks Glenorchy's first of the afternoon.
Well, that's an important one for them, and it just gets their confidence going, and they get some reward for their effort, because I've been really impressed in the first 30 minutes in the early part of this quarter. Just the defensive pressure that they've been able to put on North Launceston, and they got reward for effort there. And we know Mitch Rainbird can play, one of those boys that can play in the midfield, but then can push forward. He's not too bad below his knees. He's good in the air, and he gives them that versatility, particularly when they're struggling to kick goals. So nice start to the second quarter for him.
And it seems goals are going to be at a premium today, Brownie. So when they've got the opportunities, they're going to make them count. And that was a good finish from Magpies. Remarkably, draws them just 2 points adrift, despite it being their first goal of the day. Camrick, a high one. We'll give it Banks Smith. Gets a hand in. Look to work out through Cousins. He basically dropped it. Mott emerges with it. Comes out the back. It's good from the youngster Egger. Hands off for Ponting. And now they'll work it out through Young. It's cut off. Rainbird again to Roberts. Can he find some space to shoot? Opts to go back to Bowden, and why not on the outside of the boot? That's the second for the Maggies. And they've taken the lead here at KG5.
Well, when they do their review during the week, Glenorchy, they will highlight the smother there from Adam Roberts, because it was a brilliant turnover and he was able actually to retrieve his own smother. Smart enough to not blaze away, showed some composure to give it to the magician in Jay Bowden, who made no mistake with a really smart right foot banana. Thinking about him during the week too, boys. 6 best and fairest for Jay Bowden. A couple of runner-ups as well. Extraordinary.
How often do you think about Jay Bowden, Brownie?
Oh, look, he's a wonderful player. When I'm thinking about footy and local footy, he's he's just had an outstanding decade at this level.
Explosive start here by Glenorchy. Can the Bombers respond? Here's Joseph. Pushes it forward. Ball bouncing towards the boundary, and that's where it ends up. Over it, and Bierman sees it over, and a ball in.
Early signs, Gilly, but we were talking off air quarter time. North Launceston just seem a little bit, their energy levels just a little bit off their game at this particular point in time. Plenty of time for them, though.
No question.
She comes back in. Big tap down by Lee. Ponting. Quick hands. And now the Bombers are away. Gets it right on the paint of 50. Whitford's under it. Burt, can he get the footy? He does. He's got Cox Goodyear ahead, but he's also got Arnold to contend with. He gets the footy. Kicks it away. Banks Smith is on the end of it. Takes a nice mark. So Banks Smith, good young player for the Pies. Is it in? Our view a little restricted here in the combox. Pies push it forward again, using a yellow footy this afternoon too, boys. Interesting.
It's a bit dim, isn't it?
It's a little bit, I suppose. If we look outside, it's a little bit dark, and probably will get darker as the afternoon goes on.
Just smart decision making, I reckon, there.
Carl Saunders would have decided that. Damien, would he?
Or you lay everything at his feet. From lighting to, I don't know, even footballs now is swung around by Mott. It's picked up by Foon. Looks to just get it, scrapping it North Lonnie's way. He's wrapped up in a tackle and it's high. So it'll be a free kick for Jay Foon. Roberts just clipping him high there. Looks to switch it up. Asks a bit of Richter Solder. He gets front on contact, so he'll get a free kick. So Richter Solder. It's a decent last name, that one. Kicks out onto the wing.
Great
looking
kick
for Bennett. Searching lead.
Any
finds
hyphen
him.
name's pretty good, isn't it? For a commentator.
Long and strong is where Bennett heads and finds Ponting. Underrated player, Ponting. He's a very solid contributor. Rarely has a bad day. Nudges inside, looking for leader Cox Goodyear. He can't arrive to it. Joseph now through hands. A little nudgy ball from Webb is cut off. It'll stay where North Lonnie want it in their forward half. So 2-1-13 plays 1-3-9 here at KG5. Game with a little more life in it in this second stanza. Be thrown in. Really good ruck duel today. Duffy and Lee. Duffy with the honours on this occasion. Coming out was Couch. Then to Ponting. Swung in a tackle. Almost gets it back to Couch, but they'll run away with it now, the Magpies. Camrick gathers the footy. Spins and turns. Drops it off for Berry. Goes through his legs. Punches it forward. Clever stuff. Parker handing out. Cut off by the Bombers. Eventually, they'll claim it. Trickles out of play. It'll be another throw in.
Been pretty good, Camrick.
He's had a good year, Cam. Really good year. One of the improved players of the comp. So he'll be thrown in again. Not much in this contest at all. Arm wrestle is what describes it best, I think. Just a real scrappy game. In it comes. Lee wins down. Bowden collects. Wrapped up in a tackle. Be yet another stoppage.
4-point buffer. 8.5 gone, second term. Off it goes Duffy. Mott's in there as well. Important player for this Glenorchy team. You know that. Lee. Mott was the tackler on that occasion. He gets down to ground and gets the handball out. Taylor Whitford picks up the footy but sees it over for a boundary throw-in. As we said earlier, no breeze at all here at KG5 this afternoon, which is making ideal conditions really for both teams. Don't often see that here. So Lee landed in front of both ruckmen, but here's a big tackle from behind, and umpire says he'll ball it up. So Pearce was the tackler on that occasion. Kicked a goal earlier. No, he missed that goal, didn't he? So up it goes. Duffy. Bowden. Just can't quite get it out here at the moment, either side. Well, can get the footy. Here's Berry. Throws it on the boot. And again, ball goes to ground, so not a lot doing at all at the moment.
Neither team able to really move the footy crisply and cleanly and spot up targets. It's quite a congested game, this one.
Certainly is.
Not what I expected when I rolled into the footy this afternoon.
And just the 3 goals so far. Bannister. Now Lee bangs it on the boot. And good mark taken there by the Duffster. Looking for a target. He decides to go backwards. And he finds Salter, who goes even further back. And now they're going to switch the play here, the Magpies. And Joseph over the head of him and Whitford. All heading boundary line, but kept in beautifully. And now here's a chance for the Bombers. Donnelly, high ball, top of the square. No one can take the mark. Bird has it though, and has kicked it behind. So that makes it 5 points now. Sorry, 3 points. So Josh Arnold plays onto himself. Kicks it out of defensive 50. Big punch from behind from the Bombers. And now Bird again, who kicked that behind a few moments ago. Camrick has a bounce. Handball's off to Bowden. Jay Bowden is held up. And now here's Bierman. He's tackled. And now they're away here through Couch. Pearce, handballs, and now it's Webb, who was dragged down with the footy, and another ball up far side of the ground here at KG5.
That's why you got a stoppage there around the grounds. Lauderdale with a really sharp start, 46-14 early in that game against Launceston, and 36-7 over at the Pouch in the favour of Clarence. So
the windy factor.
The windy factor is proving to be quite significant. Lauderdale back in town as this one's thrown up. Duffy down, but it's with Whitford. On the outside is Couch. Squeezes a kick out. Bennett couldn't gather. And out for another throw.
AFL this afternoon, boys. Bulldogs, Melbourne. I'm standing between both of you. One of you goes for Melbourne. One of you goes for the Bulldogs. Which game are you focusing on at the moment?
Allegedly this one as the ball comes back in. Lee down, Whitford now with a bit of space to get a kick out, and it's delightful. Straight onto the chest of Zach Burt.
Well, that's probably the best inside forward 50 kick we've seen in the game so far. And Zach Burt has been pretty well held, was just able to find some separation on his opponent. It was a lovely pass. And he got an opportunity directly in front.
So Zach Burt will line up. Such a key figure in this team, whether it's back or forward. And when he's forward, he generally puts them through the sticks. He was confident with that one, leaned back, popped it through. It's the Bombers' second for the game, and they reclaim the lead here at KG5.
Yeah, well, both players that have kicked goals for North Launceston today are in the top 10 in the goal kicking. We mentioned that in the pre-game, and they do have multiple options there that they can roll through there. They can actually, a number of those players can push up into different positions, be it on the midfield or up onto a wing. And Bird has got great versatility. We saw him play a lot of footy down back last year, boys, and but predominantly a forward. He's powerful, isn't he, on the lead, and a really good finish.
Yeah, stars wherever you look across this North Launceston side as we have a rebounds here. So many good players on both teams. Lucky to see him go head-to-head here this afternoon. Here's Ponting. Handballs backwards. Finds Sharman. And umpire blows a whistle. So he was taken high, the Glenorchy player. And free kick will go the way of the Maggies. Geared. Pushes it forward. Here's Jay Bowden. Right on 50. Pops it up. And all North Launceston there at the moment, but Rainbird out the back, kicks the goal, his second of the term, and the Magpies reclaim the lead.
Yeah, just an opportunistic goal, and well done to Daly too, because he was outmanned there and he just provided the contest, and in the end just did enough body work to create a spillage, and Mitch Rainbird in the right spot at the right time. Nice crumbing goal and a good response from the Magpies.
Great game now.
Cracking contest, and we said at quarter time this game needed some goals to spring it to life. A really dogged first term, but that's what we've got. That's what we've got indeed, and we're back in the middle for hopefully more of the same. Bounce down, Walker in the middle now for the Pies. Bowden, Camrick squeezes a kick out. He was under the pump. A bouncing ball out on the other wing. Bo Sharman claims it. Of course, the former Devonport player gets a kick out, but it's out on the full, unfortunately. We haven't seen too much of Bo Sharman in the North Launceston lineup this season. He's worked really hard to get himself into the team. Needs to make his opportunities count as it goes along. Onto the wing. Ponting sits under it. That's a terrific grab from an undersized player. Looks for Couch. Over his head. Is he dealt with? No, says the umpire. Glenorchy should work it out through hands now. It's Brent Costello's man, Morgan. Squeezes out a kick, not his best. Out on the full. So it'll be brought back in by Ponting. Tell you what, I am keeping one eye on the Demons and Bulldogs, but Cam Brown keeping two, I think. As Ponting goes along, looking for Bennett. Fisted away. He's picked up at ground level. As Couch, who's wrapped up in a tackle.
No, good
Could
call.
someone get rid of the score on the screen over there and just pop the game up for Brownie so he can just focus on the...
Hopefully the score keeps going the way it is and he'll have no cause to look at it. As the ball's at ground level. Out of play. I am concerned here, Jake Lever with a knee injury. For those unaware of what's going on in the AFL.
Come on, boys, we're about the TSL hit.
3 goals, 119 plays, 2 goals, 416 as it currently stands. The outer side. Approaching forward 50 for North Launceston. The ball comes in. Pearce down. He ends up claiming his own footy. Bowden there trying to claim it. Wrestling away with Ponting. They're all on the ground here. It's going nowhere. We've seen a lot of that today, Camp.
Mitch Walker just isn't able to get into the game at this particular point in time, boys. They'd love him to start marking the footy, particularly up inside that forward half.
So here's Banks Smith trying to get the handball out. Didn't happen for him, and ball not going too far here. It's eventually worked out, though, through Cousins. Here's Whitford, gets boot to ball, and Couch couldn't take the mark. Joseph ends up with it out the back, and now drives it long, hugging the boundary. Right on the boundary, Rainbird can't control it, out of bounds, boundary throw in.
Good fly from Rainbird.
It's been busy this afternoon.
He's added some spark, hasn't he? And
Yeah.
he's got that versatility in his game where he can go forward, as we've mentioned, also win it inside.
Yeah, 2 goals for the quarter for Mitch Rainbird. Glenorchy's first of the day. And now Ponting wrapped up with the footy. Ball not going far again. Another ball up. 3-point margin here in favour of the home team, Glenorchy. Approaching time on, second term. Up it goes. Walker into the ruck again. And Pearce gets boot to ball out of the pack, and umpire's blowing the whistle. And free kick going the way of the Bombers. And it's going to Casey Curtis. He puts it inside 50. Big punch from behind from Gunther. Arnold. And now Salter. Big tackle from Tom Couch. Whitford went over the top of the footy. Ponting. And now away is Gunther. He gets collected right at the last minute, though, and the kick is just off the toe. And, a big leap in the square. Couldn't take the mark. The Bombers of Bennett's there, and eventually over for a minor score. Nice leap there from Jaden Harris.
Decent fly.
It was a decent fly as it comes back in, and good mark. Taken.
Oh, good play.
And now here is Daly steaming through the middle here at KG5. Who's there? It's Rainbird. Couldn't hang on to the mark. Did well to get it down. Now here's Egger. Backwards. Richter Salter looking for Tang. Tang goes over the top of his head, gets the footy though. And now Walsh. Good kick. Spots up Ponding, gets quick hands away to Foon. Foon drives it inside 50. Anybody home? Zach Burt! Nice mark. Nice mark. And he'll go back now and have a shot on goal.
Brilliant contested mark, but how's the left foot kick from Mark Walsh just to set that up? Piercing left foot. We know his beautiful foot skills, both left and right.
So Zach Burt kicked a goal earlier this quarter. Such a good player, as Damo mentioned, wherever he plays across the ground.
Well, he's always had great work rate, so he gives himself every opportunity to play well. Zach Burt.
Right behind this kick, and it is straight as anything. Zach Burt, second of the term. Bombers back in front.
Well, reward for effort, and their last 2 goals that they've kicked, they've been able to get a bit of clean entry, and Zach Burt able to find some separation in an earlier goal, and that one was just a great contested mark. And North Launceston, still it's an arm wrestle, boys, isn't it? Just 4 points separating the teams. Neither team able to break up the game, particularly with their ball movement. The offensive ball movement has been difficult for either side to get any sort of momentum happening.
So back in the middle, bounce down. Camrick loses it as he goes to bolt away. Comes to Mott, thrown on the boot by Arnold. A bouncing ball. Arriving was Bierman. Shoved aside one, claimed in a tackle now from Egger. There'll be a ball up again, approaching attacking 50 this time for the Magpies. Up we go again, Duffy and Lee. Duffy with a hit out, but it's to the opposition and to the opposition coach, Whitford. A kick in between a couple of Bombers. Couch goes to make it a contest, handed out. Joseph shrugs one, looks to shrug another. He's run out of time. It'll be kicked forward, a good kick for Burt. Strong hands, vice-like grip. He'll line up for his third.
There's another good inside 50 kick there from young Harris, who was able to spot up Zach Burt. He's the go-to player at the moment. One of these North Launceston star-studded forwards are going to get you at some particular point in time, and at the moment it's Zach Burt with his opportunity to kick his third for the quarter.
It flew forward and just stuck straight in the arms of Zach Burt. He's lining up for his third in a game where his team's only kicked 3 so far. He was happy with it straight off the boot, and that's why. Another goal. Zach Burt is on fire and looks like maybe being the game breaker here for the Bombers.
Well, it's a big task, isn't it, at the moment for the Glenorchy defenders. As he's getting on top of them, Zach Burt. He's got his tail up, and he can kick bags, boys, of 5 or 6. We've seen him do that right throughout his career. So perhaps a danger period here for Glenorchy, a 10-point lead, which is, in the context of this game, it's probably a game high, is it not?
I think it is, yeah. And 9 shots to 4 as well, so they certainly had more of the attack on the scoreboard.
Paul Kennedy showing some faith in Connor Solder, sticking with him at the moment on the dangerous Burt.
So Reece Mott gets the boot to ball. Here's Daly. He's dragged down. And we might see a ball up take place here. We will. So 10-point buffer. As we said, biggest lead of the game so far. So Glenorchy would want the next goal here just to quieten things down a little bit. Duffy and Lee go at it. Whitford, Couch. And now Lee. And now Pearce. Pearce, the kick forward. It goes straight through Bannister. Gunther. And now here's Bennett. Bennett, handball over the top. Sharman, drag down.
Good tackle.
Glenorchy end up with the footy. It's a nice big kick to the centre square. I can take the mark. Lee's there. Handball's out. Foon, Tang.
Great
and
kick.
now great kick. You're right. And Harris inside 50. Burt's there again. Don't get it on this occasion. Gunther does well, but no, the handball's not good in the end. But Reece Mott's there to drag Harris down, and we'll have another ball up.
Just the wrong decision there by Gunther. Just a slow handball that just hung in the air. Last 5 minutes, boys, probably the most dangerous ball movement we've seen in this game coming from North Launceston. They look like they're just starting to click in a gear here.
So here they go again, North Lonnie. That's only as far as it might be a free kick there to
That's a clumsy
Whitford.
free
It
kick.
is.
Really.
From your man Morgan.
So Taylor Whitford.
Well, he's been important in the last 5 or 10 minutes, Taylor Whitford, particularly by hand out of the stoppage. He's just starting to work his way into this game, and this would not be beyond him, Breno. Beautiful kick of the foot. He's always been a great finisher, but just over-exuberant there, young Tom Morgan.
Taylor Whitford, coach of North Launceston, has done a fine job replacing Tom Couch this year, and a fine job on that occasion as well, if you don't mind, from the boundary. Taylor Whitford, what a star.
Yeah, well, one of us gave him a chance there to kick that goal. I noticed you two didn't.
I think he's just
Bob
given
up.
he's trying to
I was going to
silence
say
the crowd
he was
there.
trying to silence someone.
Yeah.
There's just a little kid standing there.
Yes.
Poor fella.
He's put the finger to the lip and said, "No more, please, boys. Look what I just did." There you go.
Well, it's out to a 16-point lead, and more importantly for Glenorchy, worrying signs here. North Launceston just controlling the footy. Glenorchy, the last 5 to 7 minutes, just haven't been able to get their hands on the footy. Might be worth just throwing young Banksmith in there. He's a really good contested ball player.
Back underweight, down and underneath it, going nowhere are the Magpies. North Launceston, I think they smell blood in this one.
Yeah, it's certainly the tide's turned, hasn't it, Brad, in the last 10 minutes or so?
Lee down. This might be something for the Magpies. Rainbow couldn't gather, though, and he's ran himself into all sorts of trouble holding the footy.
And the issue there, he just fumbled at an inopportune time. And Taylor Whitford, gee, he's having a good second quarter, boys.
He's sprung to life as the coach looks out onto the wing and finds Couch in space. How he's found that space, I'll never know. Throws it on the boot. Inside 50. Rising high was Bannister. He mops up and pops it through. Another for North Launceston. And it is getting ominous for the hosts.
Well, they've kicked multiple goals this quarter, boys. And what's that? Their fifth for the quarter. And probably multiple goals kicked in a row since we saw Rainbird bob up for a goal early on in this quarter. And they're just starting to do it fairly easily. So you just wonder whether or not Glenorchy can maybe throw Jay Bowden behind the footy, maybe just for 5 minutes, to see if they can pinch one against the flow here.
Game height, 22-point lead here for the reigning premiers. Here's Pearce. He's wrapped up by Gunther. Oh, sorry, Joseph it was. Here's Webb. Brother Braden out of the side this afternoon. Pearce again. Couch. Little high kick inside. Burt. And he's dealt with.
Blocking.
No, blocking. So it'll go the other way. And the free kick will go to Stevenson, who switches play to the other side of the ground to Josh Arnold, the captain today for Braden Webb. Arnold plays on. Brings it right in front of us up here towards the commentary box. Big fist outside the boundary line by Banksmith. So 27 minutes gone this second quarter. Getting a little bit ugly now, the scoreboard. Despite it only being 22 points, 11 shots to 4. And it comes. Duffy had it all on his own on that occasion. Cousins. Ponting. And he cries for punter. Wonder how he got that nickname. Another dribbling kick now.
I'll come back to that one, Bruno, and explain that.
Thanks, Cam. And Bird again, couldn't get it on this occasion. Salter keeps it alive. A dangerous territory, though. Joseph does well. Puts it onto the boot, but dealt with. Downfield, was it? Umpire's blowing the whistle.
It'll come back.
There's a bit going on, too, between Burt and Gunther, I think it was.
Just around the grounds quickly. 32-point lead for Lauderdale down at the tip at this point in time. And 65 to 13 at the pouch. So bringing it out of defence now, it's Joseph. He's got Arnold all on his Pat Malone. He'll just put a nudgy kick on the wing. Probably not his best. In fact, definitely not his best. Maybe he had too much time to look at that. Donnelly inside for the coach. Whitford, who's running hot. Just a little lofty kick that suits Cox Goodyear to a T. He'll wind up with a long bomb looking for Burt. Great punch. Great defensive punch. Saves the day from young Stevenson. The minor score.
Yeah, great call, Gilly. Defensive, courageous ball, wasn't it? Running with a flight.
We just looked down the bench and Jay Bowden being assessed. That's concerning as well. Heavy strapping around the knee, and that is half time here at KG5. Glenorchy with a lot of work to do. 3-1-19. They trail the Bombers, who really got their game going in that quarter. 6-6-42. How have you seen it, Brownie?
Well, it was a dominant second quarter, particularly the last 15 minutes. It was a bit of an arm wrestle halfway through that quarter, and we were wondering where and who might break the game open. And it was probably Zach Burt, wasn't it, with a burst of 3 goals, who and topped off by some lovely set shot kicking. That's got to be said. And North Launceston just wrestled control. They looked dangerous in that last 10 to 15 minutes. They were able to open the game up a little bit by hand and foot, just find some space, and with their foot skills, they were able to hit some targets, as we can just see off screen here, boys. A little bit going on between Glenorchy and North Launceston players in the middle of the huddle. Not too sure.
The umpires are walking off too. They didn't want any of it.
About,
now they come back.
Both teams would be just best served getting off the ground, reassessing.
We
Not
know
much normally happens in those situations, boys, these days, to be honest.
We know they don't like each other, these two teams, though, Cam, and I reckon we're seeing a bit of that there. But North Launceston doing the damage on the scoreboard where it really counts. A really good second term from them. It was a busy quarter. We only had 1 goal in the first term. We'll have there 8 goals. So it sprung into life, really, the game.
It's just a bit of an arm wrestle for the Pies, and fairly labour intensive for them trying to get goal scoring options, because Mitch Rainbow bobbed up with 2 goals in that quarter. We know Jay Bowden as well, but they just haven't been able to look like a target, find a target that's able to catch it overhead, which is a worry for them. The player they probably need to get involved in the game is Mitch Walker. If he can find some separation on his opponent, we know he can mark the footy. But at the moment, that's a bit of a concern, as we mentioned just before. Jay Bowden looked like he was getting some attention from the trainers there, so they desperately want him back into the game. But difficult too with the Glenorchy players out, Gilly. They probably haven't got the flexibility to throw different players around at the moment. We know North Launceston, with some of those players up forward, they certainly need close attention and probably a consistent matchup. So it's difficult at this point in time to see where the Pies are going to get back into this game, it's got to be said. I just thought North Launceston got right on top and flexed their muscles and able to break it open with a 23-point lead.
Yeah, North Launceston well and truly in control. Whitford and Burt and Couch and others really getting on top in the engine room and up forward. And, Glenorchy would love to have Josh Grant at their disposal to throw in the back half, because Burt is really causing them some problems at this point in time. So it's 6-6-42, the Northern Bombers, the reigning premiers, in charge of this contest after a very scrappy opening term. The game sprung into life in the second stanza. Glenorchy Magpies 3-1-19. They've got some work to do in this contest. We'll have a break now for the second half, for half-time rather, and be back with the second half between these two teams, Glenorchy Magpies and Northern Bombers, the premiers in charge.
Who kicked that goal? It was one bloke I didn't even know it was. Kicked that
Bannister?
North goal. Was it?
61.
Yeah, I haven't got him on here.
Yeah, 61.
Back for the second half. It's been an arm wrestle, but North Launceston took the ascendancy in that second term with a good run of goals. They lead it 6-6-42, 3-1-19. What do we expect from the second half, fellas?
Well, I think from Glenorchy, they just need to be able to find some targets inside forward 50, particularly to mark the ball, because their goals have probably come just from spillages, particularly a couple to Mitch Rainbird, a nice right foot banana from Jay Bowden in the second quarter. But apart from that, it's been few and far between, and they just haven't been able to spot up targets inside their forward 50. And a little bit of that is ball use, and a little bit of that is just trying to find a target in there that can be dangerous. So they might have spun the magnets a little bit in that quarter, Gilly. From North Launceston, they will just be looking to continue, I would have thought, the last 15 minutes of the quarter, because that's where they really flex their muscles, and it showed on the scoreboard. But in particularly, their delivery by foot and hand, they were just able to break up the game, really use their foot skills, find some time and space with the footy, and they punished them. And it came on the back of a real burst from Zach Bird in that quarter.
Did indeed. How will the Magpies respond, Brent Costello? What are you expecting?
Yeah, look, probably for the game to continue, as we alluded to, 12 scoring shots to 4, so they've done most of the attacking, North Launceston. Just haven't kicked the straightest, and we know they're renowned for that a little bit, the Bombers, a little bit of inaccurate kicking. Always get plenty of goals, but they probably could have a few more too if they kick straightest. So be interesting to see what Paul Kennedy had to say at the half-time break. We know he gave a big spray last week, Damon. It was three-quarter time, and he said during the week that you don't often get that from him unless it's deserved. So we'll wait and see how it all plays out here in the second half.
So back in the middle is the support staff trickle off the ground, and it's a big lead in terms of the game, given there was only one goal in the first quarter. North Launceston, expect more of the same from them. They just look like they found their groove in that second quarter.
Jay Bowden starting in the middle in this quarter for the Pies, Glenorchy.
Good to see him out there.
Knee heavily strapped, so, but obviously good to go. Up we go again. Duffy and Lee, favours Lee, off for Walsh and then Couch on the outside of his right boot. A bouncing ball for Bennett, claims it. Goes back, a little kick inside. Couch again arrives and takes a good grab.
Goes okay, doesn't he?
There's another good kick from Harris. I've liked his game. So Couch from 50. He'll wheel around, get a little bit of latitude to get his kick goalward, punch through. Minor score.
Yeah, great to see Tom Couch back playing TSL footy for North Launceston. And it comes Joseph out of defence. Mark couldn't be taken there from Cousins. He does well to get the footy back though, and North Lonnie turn it over. Inside 50, umpire's blowing the whistle and it's coming back.
Free kick for holding on too long after the original disposal. We'll go back to Tommy Bennett.
So Bennett drives it inside 50, and on the lead is Taylor Whitford. Takes a nice mark. He wheels around the coach. Taylor Whitford looks goalward, and it is good. North Lonnie with a perfect start in this third term. Taylor Whitford on the board again.
Well, free kick to Bennett, and then he was able to spot up Taylor Whitford. It was a great presentation on the lead. A little bit of lax marking there, though, for allowing Whitford to run around and open up the angle. Geez, a great finisher, Gilly, isn't he? And we spoke about in the pre-game just how many guys they've got in the top 10 goal kickers at the moment, North Launceston, and that's a story in itself, that they do spread the load of goal kickers. And Taylor Whitford's been able to bob up with a goal in the second and early on in this third quarter. Extends the margin now to 30 points.
He's a ruthless player, Taylor Whitford. Back in the middle, Lee and Duffy. Lee paddles down. Cox Goodyear being held. Umpire doesn't see it. Well done from Banksmith with a nice little turn from Duffy. It isn't marked by Berry, but it is by Pearce. Just a little ball for Tang. Takes the grab. Tang looking for Walsh.
Free kick.
Punched out of his arms, but Cops one higher or chopping in the arms. It'll be Walsh. Shaw by foot to Richter Salter. A little one inside. They'll work it out now. Will the Bombers onto the outer wing. It's Foon. Foon long. Looking for Harris. He's been good. Good by foot in particular. A little ball for Pearce. Wrapped up in a tackle. Bundling through was Pearce again. Shoveling a handball was Couch. It's picked up again. They just move it swiftly through hands. Cox Goodyear with a shimmy and a shaky eyes. Goal off the left peg. Out in the full.
Would have been a nice one.
Might have just copped a hand on the way through. It did, says the umpire, so it'll be thrown in.
We saw him get caught, didn't we, in the first half, boys? But, gee, very rarely does he get caught with the foot. He's just so powerful in the hips.
This one's tossed in right on North Launceston's goal line. And here's Cox Goodyear. Geez, clever. Look at this. He balks, he weaves, he gets it off to the coach again, who throws it on the boot. Don't tell me. No, across the face, minus score. They're looking pretty sharp here, the Bombers, early in this third term. So, looks like Jay Bowden to kick it in. That knee heavily strapped, as we said, after half-time. And it comes. Tang's there to collect for the Bombers, but a lot of Glenorchy players around the footy as well. Cries for holding the ball. Umpire will ball it up, though. Tommy Couch not too impressed with that call. So, 31 points is the difference. Almost 5 minutes gone. Lee, Duffy go at it again. The Magpies get it out through Bowden. And he's been pinged for holding the footy. So, the Bombers with it. They rush it inside 50. Who's there? Big punch from behind. And now Bowden with the footy again. Up to the wing. He's got Rainbird. Rainbird plays on quickly. And now Rowbottom. And Bierman dragged down with the ball. And ball up as the sun begins to make its presence felt here at KG5. No wind this afternoon. Pretty good conditions for footy. It goes again. Duffy wins it. Couch to himself and kicks it. It's juggling the boundary and eventually spills over for a throw.
Number of young players in both teams today, but when you particularly look at Glenorchy boys, players like Berry and Morgan, Bierman, just really finding their way at this level. Roberts is another one. Stevenson, Banks Smith, number of boys there, probably 20 games or less.
Clever from Jay Bowden to get it inside, but it's all North Launceston. And they're away here through Richter Salter. He'll take his time though. Richter Salter, premiership player with the Bombers last season. Tommy Bennett, another one. Fine mark. Turns around, lays on.
Great kick.
Great kick. And now there's plenty of options too. Zach Burt is one out on his own and spots him beautifully. Couldn't hang on the mark, but he'll get the kick anyway, will he? He will. So Zach Burt will go back now and have a shot on goal. And this will be for number 3, boys.
Four, I think, boys. What I love about that kick from Thomas Donnelly, it was a nice mark overhead, but he just got back and he was balanced before he took his kick. He's a much improved player. We know he's an overage boy at Mariners level and was pretty serviceable for them this year. And he's just really starting to become a consistent player at this level.
With the skills of Zach Burt, should not miss this directly in front and has made no mistake. The one-hand salute and North Lonnie extend that lead even further now. It's a big one, 37 points.
Well, the beauty of him is he's kicking for goal, isn't it? And fair enough being that target to present, but if you're not going to cap off your work by foot, it sometimes doesn't have the effect that you'd want, obviously, for your team. But he's today 4 goals straight I've got him down for, I think, boys. And the most damaging forward on the ground today. We just mentioned his work ethic. He continually presents. He's good on the lead, good overhead in one-on-one situations and dangerous at ground level.
He's really smart on the lead, isn't he, Brownie? Just finds those pockets of space and then takes the grab more often than not. We're back in the middle. We'll try and farm it out, Glenorchy. They've got some real work to do in this contest. Another stoppage.
I reckon they probably kicked 5 or 6 goals in a row nearly North Launceston.
Yeah, I'd have to
Some
go
real
back
concerns.
and check. But, yeah, it's been one-way traffic for a little while now. Lee takes it out of the ruck. A bouncing ball. Stevenson worked under it. Oh, lovely stuff by Harris, but his kick is found wanting. A long kick from Banksmith, inside 50. Walker, a rare look at it.
Well, this is what we've been calling for, and well done to Ryan Banksmith, who had a pretty solid under-18 carnival, it's got to be said, Gilly, for the Mariners, and he wouldn't have been too far away from the Allies. Played some really good footy, he was able to kick some goals. Predominantly an inside midfielder, but a nice run and carry from half-back and a good presentation from Mitch Walker. Needs to kick this one for his confidence.
He does. Hasn't seen too much of the footy, Mitch Walker. He gives it a good ride, an excellent ride, and a crucial goal for Glenorchy. Their fourth of the day.
Well, a good finish, and we just mentioned how North Launceston, since halfway through that second quarter, have been able to slam on multiple goals. And an important response there from Glenorchy on the back of Banksmith. And a good lead up and a good finish from Mitch Walker. So just keeps them in touch, but still that margin sitting at 31 points.
Sun-drenched KG 5 now. Approaching 10 minutes gone this third quarter. Beautiful conditions out there for the players. Beautiful bounce too to get us back underway. Here's Rainbird, tucks the footy under the arm, gets the handball out. Duffy, the big man, goes to ground. Whitford, the opening goal of the term. Bouncing ball. Joseph, over the top. Rainbird. And now Arnold. Mott. Mott to space, but unfortunately full of North Launceston players. Nice mark taken by Lockie Young. Gets it inside the centre square. Rainbird comes steaming through, but can't pick up the footy. And now the Magpies drag down. Good tackle, Taylor Whitford. And Adam Roberts pinned for holding the footy. So Whitford with the football. Taylor Whitford, star. And now another inside 50 for the Bombers. Sun causing a few issues out there, I think, for the players. It's quite bright at the moment. Still alive, despite being in the boundary. Cox good, yeah. Does well, does really well. Keeps it alive. Here's Pearce. Throws it onto the boot, but just to the left, minor score.
Whenever the ball's in his vicinity inside forward 50, Cox Goodyear, he's just so dangerous, isn't he?
Yep.
Hand and foot, so powerful
strong.
over the booty. Yep,
Yeah.
so strong.
So Glenorchy with the football now. Oh, good tackle, but did well too. Berry, and now Mott. Walker. Couldn't take it. Bowden coming through, though, does well. He centres the footy.
Great kick.
Great mark. Bierman, too. Does well. Sells some candy. Goes forward. And Walker couldn't take the mark. Dives onto the footy. Gets it out. Geared now. Does well. Right on the paint of 50.
Oh,
Gets it
kick.
inside. Oh, mark couldn't be taken by Gunther. Gets the footy back, though. Handball's off. And now Geared with it again. He pops it up, but all North Launceston. Whitford collects on the last line of defence and pushes it back out. North Lonnie out of trouble. So a little let off there for the Bombers, but Gunther should have took that mark, Brownie, probably.
Oh, definitely. He's been pushed forward. I like that move.
So North Lonnie now, look at this. They've got numbers and players everywhere. It goes right on the 50-metre line. Bouncing footy. Parker sees it over. Boundary throw in.
Well, I do like the fact that Glenorchy this year have tried to settle Harrison Gunther into a position, because we've watched his career, particularly at statewide league level, boys, and he's been thrown back and forward over the journey. But this season in particular, he's been able to lock down that defensive position. But just because of the circumstances in the game, Paul Kennedy has thrown him forward. I like that move.
It is a good move. They haven't looked like kicking too many goals, but he's a player that when on song can kick them. Underneath all this, North Launceston, they all pile on top. Another stoppage. Nice day for footy here in the State South. North Launceston in control. Hit out one. Running through was Walsh. He got a handball out, but yet again it will be another stoppage. Another ball up. Approaching attacking 50 for North Launceston. They've got the game by the scruff of the neck.
Tell you who else does. Lauderdale, 77, leads Launceston 22 down at the tip.
Yeah, I'll call that one. Lauderdale, big win.
Whew, massive. And Clarence doing it easy over North Hobart at Blunston.
Rainbird scraps out a kick. It goes over the head of Bowden. They'll work it out of defence now, North Launceston. It's with Donnelly, but he runs out of grass, and it's out for another throw. Sorry, Brandy.
Sorry, I was going to say, it says a little bit about Lauderdale boys, just when they're obviously at their best, they become a very dangerous proposition, which is great for the competition, isn't it? North Launceston certainly seem the yardstick at this particular point in time, but it's always good for the competition to know that there's 3 or 4 teams that are in contention, and Lauderdale, their form over the last couple of weeks, would be great for them and their supporters.
Sharman powers long, and Joseph takes the grab ahead of Couch, who arrived late.
He's got Stevenson out wide.
And that's where he heads. Stevenson takes a mark. He's got Morgan short. Pops it up for him, in between him and Parker. Parker, not his best handball. It's taken by Cousins. Good tackle to make up for it. Lucky for Parker. Good follow-up work from an ordinary handball.
James
Finds Webb with his kick.
Been quiet today, Brandon?
Yeah, he has, and he's one of those ones they really need to get up and running. Still time for him, though.
Duffy, he went for the mark and it hit him on the scon. Now it's with Foon. Goes back to a vent by hand. Then Richter Solder. Can't take the grab. He's wrapped up in a tackle. He's gone. He is absolutely gone. Good tackle from Banksmith, and he'll line up for the Magpies' 5th.
He's been pretty serviceable. I think he'll end up that more the inside midfield type, Gilly, who's a player who can go forward and kick goals. We saw him do it at under-18 level Mariners, so he's normally pretty good in these situations.
So Banksmith lines up off the right boot and straight through. So a good goal for Banksmith. And 5 goals, 1 now for the Magpies. They claw back. They remain. Oh, an outside sniff in this one, Brownie.
Well, it's good for them. It's probably been their best period of offence and ball movement the last 5 or 10 minutes. 2 goals in a row to them. A nice finish from Ryan Banksmith. His father boys, Paul Banksmith, played in the old statewide league days in the 90s for New Norfolk.
Speaking of which, Brownie, saw some very nice footage of you during the week from back in your prime, playing and coaching for St Virgil's, the old scholars.
Would have been short footage.
It was indeed, actually. You're right. It's a restart here.
Well, for this game, if Glenorchy can kick the next one, they'll start to build a bit of belief.
Absolutely. Yep. 26-point margin. Lee taps it down to Cox Goodyer. The powerful Brad Cox Goodyer inside 50 and out to collect. Can Whitford do it? He can't. Camrick does well. Still alive though for North Launceston. Look how powerful this man is. Cox Goodyer off to Whitford, off to Bannister, and misses. So big let off there for Glenorchy.
Gee, it seemed like he broke about 2 or 3 tackles.
Yeah, he's an amazing player. An amazing player. What a season he had last year as well. League best and fairest, of course. Premiership year. Did very nicely indeed as the ball comes back in. It's a wobbly old kick, and Daly, though, is underneath the footy, takes the mark.
Yeah, he's a player they'd love to see get their hands on the footy. Colin Daly, not his best kick.
Richter Solder ends up with the footy. Spots up Couch, but he's in trouble from behind. Does well, though. Quickly gets it away. Young. Now the ball here with Glenorchy now, and they'll have some time to go back and just assess their options. Here's Rainbird. Pushes it forward. Richter Solder's there. Gunther flew and trickles out of bounds. Boundary throw-in.
Yeah, Cullen Daly, best player in the finals last year for Glenorchy.
He was good, wasn't he? He certainly announced himself to the competition last season. Little pocket rocket, my man.
Morgan, as it comes in, 1 down by Lee for the runner. It's picked up by Richter Solder. Couch was looking for the kick. Went the 1-2 instead with Egger. Then a third with Donnelly. Now over to Ponting. Ponting has his ball blocked. It's picked up by Mott. Now hustle and bustle, scraps out a kick. Scherenegger picks it up. Picks up his namesake. The ball going down the wing, almost for Mott. Crunched with Stevenson. Comes out the back through Bennett. They're on here now, North Launceston. Whitford a kick inside 50. Should be tracked down in the finish by Brennan. It is. He kicks out and he's got Banksmith with a paddock. Banksmith tucks the footy under his arm and looks forward, looking for Bowden. He just trickles it back to Banksmith. He can't gather the footy. Eventually does. It's cut off again. Event shrugs one and runs it out of play.
Well, they missed a lot of players today, Glenorchy, but someone like Zach Webster, boys, just with his ability to break the lines.
Yeah, indeed. They could use him out there this afternoon. So, 27-point ball game here as we approach time on. Third quarter. Walker back into the ruck for Glenorchy, but Lee won it down for the North Launceston. Daly with the footy, though, for Glenorchy. Ball back to ground. Nice crowd in this afternoon, giving it to Northern team visiting, boys. Saw a close game in the Mercury Cup beforehand, 2 or 3 points the difference. As we're underway again, Couch as umpire's blown the whistle here. And it's like Tommy Couch will get the free kick. The handball's over the top. I'll ask you about Tommy Couch in a minute, Brownie, as North Lonnie go inside at 50 again. Punched away, though. Here's Rainbird, and Glenorchy might be on here. Unfortunately, the ball went over Bowden's head. Gunther pushed off it by Couch. He gets the footy. And lands awkwardly there, but here's Tang. Does well, explodes away. Has a bounce. Looks to go really nicely here through the middle of KG5, but unfortunately loses it in the end. Now Stevenson. And pops it up for Morgan. Tries to send the footy. And now Bierman pops it inside 50. Walker.
Well, they've actually controlled the footy in the last 5 or 10 minutes, Glenorchy. And it's come on the back of some really good tackling and defensive pressure. An opportunity here to kick their third in a row for this quarter. Pretty much identical spot, Gilly, from where Mitch Walker took the mark about 10 minutes earlier from that inside 50 kick from Banksmith.
He's gone back a fair way.
This will make it 21 points and keep the Magpies in touch. They have certainly been up and about this last 5 minutes or so. So let's see what Mitch Walker can do. Looks pretty good off the boot. It goes right to the line. Unfortunately, distance not quite there. And it's seen over for a minor score.
He did all the hard work. Was it Jay Bowden on the last line there? I thought he was going to take that mark.
Back in it comes. Players flew from everywhere for that ball. Again, ball up. So margin now 26 points. Just into time on in this third quarter. Big news of the day. Lauderdale. So they'll be upset winners over Launceston down at Lauderdale. As you expect, Clarence doing the job against North Hobart at Blunston Arena. Here's Tom Bennett running onto the footy. Couch wheels around. Tom Couch looks at goal. No one there. And it is over. No, it's still in play. And Joseph brings it out of defence. Webb, other out of the team. Smothered kick. Couch again. Now here's Young. Joseph. Arnold, captain this afternoon, kicks not his best and out on the full. So Cox Goodyear will take the kick for the Bombers. And 50 metres as well,
penalty.
so...
I think it was against Webb for encroaching on the mark.
Dear oh dear, and the man that will take the kick is arguably the best player in the competition. So you would think this is a certain goal coming up for North Launceston to increase this lead back to over 30 points.
Well, I'm going to mark it down, but gee, that's a body blow for Glenorchy just when they're working very hard to get back into the game.
Brad Cox Goodyear makes no mistake, as we suspected. And that's a real stinger for the Magpies, who are creating a bit of momentum there.
It's interesting, boys. Just Glenorchy's form now, and they're undermanned and they're up against the best team in the competition, but is that their fourth loss potentially in a row?
Yeah, it will be.
And the interesting thing about that is the resurgence of Lauderdale, who will actually be equal with them on points after this game, and a fair old gap in percentage between the two teams. But the fortunes of both sides have turned around the last month.
It's extraordinary, isn't it? Glenorchy raced out of the blocks this season, and let's be serious, this game's certainly not over yet, but the way it's trending, it's heading towards a North Launceston win. So
yeah, 32 points from here. It'd be hard to see that unravelling for North Launceston. Back in the middle, Lee down. Ponting looks to track it down. Whitford emerges with it. Hands off for Foon. Receives it back to Whitford. Steers it towards Donnelly, who takes the mark. Long sleeves. Looks long for Bennett. Punched away from him. Mott. Nice ball. Finds Rainbird on centre wing. Steers it inside and finds Banksmith, who's keen to get going. Pops a kick up looking for Walker. He arrives. Almost takes the grab. Not quite. Richter Salter. Wrapped up by Morgan. Comes out the back. Banksmith slaps it around. Looking for Walker. Couldn't take the grab. Daly, will he pounce on it? No, he won't. Because North Lonnie there first through Whitford and now Foon. Then Event. He looks long to centre wing. Ponting the target. Punches on smartly. Picks out Bennett, who shimmies and shakes and finds Donnelly on a burst. Puts it straight out in front of Couch, who takes a mark, sliding in. He can go inside and pick out Harris. Ignores that. Looks in the Curtis direction, and he takes the grab. Does Casey Curtis, who will line up for North Launceston's 10th of the day. They always have a lot of scoring shots, don't they, North Lonnie? 9-10 today.
Yep. Plenty of household names in this Bombers lineup, but Casey Curtis, probably not one of them, Brownie. Do you know much about him?
No, I remember his... I don't know whether it's his father. There was certainly a Curtis that played in the old statewide league days, Kim Curtis. I'm not sure whether there's any relation to that, but no, just finding his way in the game and certainly be doing well to maintain his spot in this team because it's a star-studded lineup. He gets an opportunity to get on the scoreboard.
So Casey Curtis lines up and not too bad off the boot, but just leaves it hanging in the finish and a minor score. So 9 goals 11, North Launceston. Long powering kick from Joseph, and he picks out Jay Bowden. They'd love to have about 3 of this man. He can play anywhere on the ground. So a little one for Banks Smith, who's got a vent for company. Banks Smith looks at a crowded wing, so opts to go back for Morgan.
Been good, Banks Smith. He's been one of their better players.
No doubt. Morgan now on a run. Oh, almost. Just finds Arnold with a low pole driver a kick. Arnold now bounds away. Long and strong looking out onto the wing. There was a whistle.
Yeah, a free kick for a late knock after he got rid of it, Arnold.
So it'll be
Might
down
have been against
Burt, I think.
Zach Burt. Seen that a few times today, boys, those free kicks downfield.
So it'll be Glenorchy ball. Roberts looks long on the centre wing. The kick favours North Launceston's Sharman. He can't take the grab. Out of bounds.
So the dying embers of this third term, all North Launceston.
I tell you what, it's an underrated back half at North Launceston, isn't it, boys? We obviously sing the praises of the forward line and their midfield.
Ball headed back towards North Launceston's goals, but held up for the moment.
You know, they've got Foon and Event can go back there and play, both really assured by foot. Richter Salter's a really underrated player. Young's another one that plays a role for them.
So Glenorchy through Mott, push it forward, and there's the three-quarter time siren. So it's the Bombers 9-11-65, Glenorchy 5-2-32, a 33-point margin for the away team, and just stamping their authority that they're the best team in the competition right now.
Yeah, well, as we have a look at the goal kickers, boys, I thought Glenorchy's effort was better in that third quarter. They certainly had a period of play where they actually kicked some multiple goals, and it looked like they were starting to get back into the game. But unfortunately for them, it was a 50-metre penalty late in that quarter from Webb, which put Cox Goodyear almost on the goal line, and he was able to just put that buffer above the 30 points. It's going to be a difficult job, you would think, now for Glenorchy to get back into this game, but you'd think Paul Kenny would just be looking for the effort to be up, the work rate, just try and generate something and some energy, and obviously some scoreboard pressure if they can try and get back into this game. But North Launceston, just with all their experience and class, look to have this one almost at the throat, you would think, at the start of this last quarter.
So we look at the goal kickers for North Launceston. Zach Burt leading the way with 4, Cox Goodyear 2, along with Taylor Whitford 2 as well, and 1 to Dakota Bannister. And for the Magpies, Mitch Rainbird with 2, and singles to Mitch Walker, Jay Bowden and Ryan Banks-Smith.
They've got this game by the scruff of the neck, North Launceston. They're well in control, 33-point leaders at three-quarter time. Glenorchy, this result may be beyond them, but can they win the final term? Stick around and find out. We'll have a brief break now as the teams go into their huddles. So we're back with the final quarter here from KG5. It's probably not the blockbuster we expected when arriving to the ground today, but North Launceston have shown flashes of their class and have a stranglehold on the game. 9-11-65 leads 5-2-32. As Glenorchy supporters and coaching staff and one James Bresnahan makes his way off the field. North Lonnie again ready to go in position. They've been so impressive, and something you said there, Cam Brown, you generally have a look at their defence and think, geez, they lack a bit of height, maybe they could be exposed that way, but they rarely are, North Launceston.
I just think they're incredibly underrated in that department. Tang's have been an important player for them back there as well. He seems to play a role. He normally makes pretty good decisions by hand and foot. Looks like he's one of those versatile types that can play on talls and smalls. But when you look at three-quarters of footy, they've only had the 5 goals scored against them. They'll often roll Cousins back there at different stages, boys. He can play tall as well, but more a player who'll run and carry and be damaging with his left foot.
Having a bit of a giggle there, Brent. Seeing something you like?
Just watching Brez. See what he's up to. Looking
Your
around
man, James Bresnahan.
looking around the bench down there with the pies.
So back in the middle. And that one is an absolute stink bomb. We'll have to have that again for sure. Duffy and Lee. Been a good battle. Lee wins the honours this time. Down to Walshoot. Handed off quickly to Ponting. Kick forward. Good body work by Bennett. Sees him handed off to Pearce, who looks at goal. Snapping, bouncing, through. A sharp start from the Northern Bombers. Really good stuff, and you can tell why they are the team to beat in 2018.
A good finish from Jake Pearson. It was a pretty smart sidestep just to give himself a little bit of time and space from his opponent. Nice kick across the body. A perfect start for North Launceston. Gilly, you mentioned the ruck duels too. They're both similar players for mine, Lee and Duffy. They're very workmanlike. They spend a large amount of time rucking for their team. Very rarely do they get a rest. Really honest toilers.
Yeah, I like that. As soon as it left Jake Pearce's boot, you could hear the celebrations ring out early. Duffy wins that one down. And they're away again here, the Bombers. But Glenorchy do well. Joseph. And now Banks Smith. Webb. And now here's Rainbird with a chance right in front of us here in the commentary box. But well done by Foon, who's there to collect for the Bombers. Couch, he's in there too. Mott, though, his kick smothered. Scherenegger pops it forward. And now Harris to Bennett. So North Lonnie in full control here. Damien Gill just...
There was a hanger taken.
Just getting excited about Melbourne's progress this season in this match against the Doggies as Gunther takes a mark.
I thought it was going to be another free kick to the D's, but...
Guys, we're on the TSL here, just so we know. Again, just a reality check for you both. Arnold,
kick.
Really nice kick. Usually is, most of the time. So Berry pops it to the wing. Bit of headgear here for Salter. And Joseph, another reliable player. Goes straight past Jay Bowden, though, and this one is running out of bounds for boundary throwing as the sun slowly starts to disappear here. And when it does, it's going to be quite dark. Pretty cold afternoon, but no wind, which has made it nice. Not too cold up here in the commentary box for us, where it sometimes becomes a wind tunnel here at KG5.
It can indeed.
Makes it a little bit
well
nippy.
protected.
We are, as it comes back in. Cox Goodger's there. Just the raging bull like he's playing rugby league there. So umpire's blowing the whistle. And he'll get the free kick. What a star he is, Brad Cox Goodyer. Put slightly under the pump by his coach a few weeks ago, saying he hadn't quite hit the levels he'd expected this season, but
he's had some injuries too.
He has indeed. Exactly right. Cousins with the footy. Pushes it to the right. Yeah, no doubting his ability, that's for sure, as a football player, Brad Cox Goodyer. You'd love to see how he would go at VFL level potentially one day. Whether he does or not remains to be seen. Here's Whitford. Long booming kick inside 50. All Glenorchy, though, mopping up with Stevenson.
He just needed to lower his eyes a little bit there. He had...
Stevenson's kick hits the chest of Mott, who plays on really quickly. And that's a nice kick as well. It's Camrick on the far side of the ground. Ben Camrick. Man they call Disco. Pops it to half forward. And out of bounds, boundary throw-in.
Nice play to come back into this team in the latter stages of the season. Taron Thomas for North Launceston boys. I think they'll find a spot for him.
You reckon he'll squeeze in, Brownie?
Ryan Mansell too.
Ryan Mansell's another one. Both boys premiership players last year.
Lonnie will get a few back too, won't they?
Yeah, they will.
They'll get half a team back.
Yep.
So the ball's thrown in. Duffy and Lee. Lee wins this one. It's down. Mott swings it around. Looking for Roberts. Fisted away. Mopping up was Ponting. Hands it out to Egger. Misses his target. It was Cox Goodyear. Duffy mops up. Gives it a Mott though, and he was hot. He was gone. Free kick. Really good pressure again from the Northern Bombers, who've been impressive. Pearce hands it off. Egger. A little one over the top. Asks a bit of Bennett. Salter gets a hand in. It comes back out. Salter now with a wrapped dome. Drops it off for Rainbird. Throwing on the boot long and strong. There's a whistle.
Yeah, hold off the footy.
It's a Richter Solder ball out there. Who steers back for Foon. And he'll find a vent. Three very, very solid defenders in a settled North Launceston defence. Young just waits on it. And it was a good bit of work in the end by young Brennan coming across to cut it off.
Brandy, Tommy Couch, obviously you'll always find a spot for him in this team. But how disruptive is it if he's not going to play every game from a coaching perspective, having someone fly in, not knowing exactly which games he'll play? We might get back to that in a moment.
As the ball's thrown in. Good question, Breno. Rainbird wrapped up. Another ball up.
I actually think you use it to your advantage because as long as you've got it mapped out and you've got some continuity in finding out when he is and isn't available, but you can find out a little bit more about different players.
I heard he's going to play most Hobart games. I'm not sure how accurate that is, but that's what I've heard from a few different people. So if that's the case, they'll have him for a few, obviously. Free kick being paid here to the Bombers. So almost 7 minutes gone. Final term. North Lonnie in full control of this one. Umpire's blowing the whistle, holding. And free kick going here to Zach Burt by the look. Right in front of us in the commentary box. What an afternoon he's had. He's kicked the 4 goals. Whitford played very nicely as well. Stars everywhere. Bennett, Ponting. Every time you call him, you're calling it a very good footy player. Well, could be a free kick. Umpire says no, you'll ball it up. So big margin. Spreading. Lauderdale heading towards an upset win over Launceston at the tip. Clarence in full control against North Hobart. Whitford all over. Mitch Rainbird there, but the umpire will ball it up.
Yeah, just that, you know, they are not overly relying on Tom Couch, but he's an important player for them. So you get an opportunity to get someone else in there to have a look at him at midfield and maybe as a high half forward. You know what you're going to get from Tom Couch every week. So you can probably throw different players in there, have some contingency plans. But it's a luxury, isn't it, to have him in your 22 every week.
Absolutely. Ball not going anywhere here. Brady, you mentioned... sorry, you go.
I was going to say, Glenorchy will have a chance to get their season back on track, boys. You'd think over the next couple of weeks they play the Tigers and North Hobart. With all due respect to those two teams, you'd think Glenorchy's best would be good enough to get the job done.
It's a tackle there and holding the ball.
Good tackle from Bannister.
Yep, Daly ping there. So Bannister with the footy. The number 61 this afternoon.
Heavy
as opposed
number.
to his usual number of 17. In it goes inside 50. Good mark taken by Josh Ponting. Holds it up for all to see, and he'll go back and kick on an angle. and probably from about 20 odd metres out. So distance will not trouble him whatsoever. Angle shouldn't either. So you can almost mark this one down, I reckon. Very good player, Josh Ponding. Kicked a wonderful goal in the final at Launceston Arena 3 or 4 years ago now to win the game for North Launceston.
Yes, against the Roos on that occasion, and he slotted that one through. I think you said earlier in the call, Gilly, just how much he's improved or how underrated he is. I'm sure they rate him very highly internally at the North Launceston Footy Club, but gee, he's become a consistent player. Whether or not that's rolling through the midfield, we've seen him up on a wing down back, a great overhead mark and a neat finish. And just one of those North Launceston players now that has played a lot of footy at this level, and there's a number of them that have played, getting up towards that 80 to 100 game mark. And that allows a lot of cohesion, a lot of understanding, playing with each other. Really nice finish.
Nice grab, nice finish. Nice football for North Launceston. Back in the middle. It's won by Duffy on the boot of Daly, who's in the middle now, in the mix-up. Behrman tries to go and track it down, as does Sharman of the opposition. Comes to Tang, feeds it out for Cox Goodyear, tries to ride a tackle. Whoever that was got an armchair ride.
He's hurt too.
It's Camrick, I think.
Probably cramp or
in serious strife after just sitting on the back of Cox Goodyear like a jetpack. Comes out to Bannister. He throws it on the boot. That's a lovely kick to Walsh.
A brilliant kick. Great call, Gilly. He just burst away from that contested situation, Bannister, and leading to the fat side Mark Walsh. You can mark this one down, you would think, boys. He'll become another goal kicker for North Launceston. He might have even started on the bench today, Mark Walsh, but he is a beautiful kick of the footy.
Might be a bit of cramp there for Disco Camrick. Well, look at things.
Come off.
Really, boys, apart from 5 minutes or so in the third quarter, since probably halfway through the second quarter, Glenorchy have really struggled against North Launceston. North Launceston, just the bigger bodies.
Walsh off that laser-like boot, offline.
Unbelievable.
Too much faith, Cam.
I want to get a tally of how many times this has happened to poor old Brownie this year. He's backed the bloke in and they've just stitched him.
He's the Mockers king, isn't he? Joseph, a short one into the pocket and find Parker. He's got Banksmith over the top if he opts to head there. Bit indecisive here, Parker. Retreats back to Joseph. They've hemmed them in nicely, North Launceston. Well set up. No obvious ways out. So Joseph heads out on the wing. Will ask a bit of Walker. Here's a crack from behind. Thrown on the boot. A bouncing ball onto the outer wing. Foon will track it down. He's got support. His hand over the top finds Rainbird, though, who's wrapped up in a tackle. Is he trying to get it out? That'll be the question of the umpire.
Bang.
No, says the umpire, holding the ball. So it'll be Young's footy. Impressive North Launceston defence.
Another really consistent player for them, Connor Young.
Young, a high ball, looking towards forward 50. Doesn't quite get there. Bannister had hands on it. Dropping the ball was Webb. They farm it out through Mott. Bowden drops the footy in defensive 50. Picking up was Whitford. Just trying to get rid of his opponent. And the ball runs out of play.
Well, it's an important 15 or so minutes here for Glenorchy. They're not going to win this game, 44 points the margin, but if you're them, you just don't want this to get out to a 10-goal belting.
You beat me to it, Brownie. I was about to ask you about that and what this blowout would do for their confidence. You never want to see that. You see the umpire's paid a free kick here. It looks like it's going to Brad Cox Goodyear. So this could blow that margin out we just spoke about even more with this man with the footy. But yeah, you obviously don't want this to get out any more than what it is now. So big kick coming up here for Brad Cox Goodyear, star of the competition. Heads goalward and offline.
They'll probably let him off the hook a little bit. 23 scoring shots now to 7.
Absolutely. You mentioned Taron Thomas before, Brownie, and the Allies. When's the first game for the Allies? It can't be far away.
Allies.
Oh, look at that. Dear oh dear. You don't often see that from Dan Joseph either.
Yeah, the Allies play their first game next week, boys. So a number of our youngsters will be running around,
Looking
trying to
forward
make
to
that final cut.
Absolutely.
A practice match last week where a number of them performed really well.
Fraser Turner, 31 touches in one of the games.
Smackdown and free kick's been paid here. It's going the way of North Launceston against the big man Cam Duffy, and Tommy Bennett is the man that'll have the kick.
And it's a 50-metre
and
penalty.
50 as well. So something you don't want at this late stage in the game. We talk about blowouts, and this is just a gimme now for Tom Bennett. Premiership star last year, Tommy Bennett, easy goal.
We mentioned 5 of the boys in the build-up to this game who are in the top 10 or 11 in the goal-kicking list at the moment. And about 4 of those are on the scoreboard at the moment. Cox Goodyear with 2 goals. Whitford's bobbed up for 2. Bennett now on the scoreboard. Zach Burt with 4. Couch really the only one that hasn't been able to hit the scoreboard, but he certainly had some opportunities. Spent a fair bit of time, it's got to be said, in the midfield too today as a former coach. This one gets out to 53 points on the back of that goal.
So really blowing out here at KG5. The day will belong to North Launceston. Bowden gets it out of the middle, but it's straight down the throat of Sharon Egger, who guides into the waiting arms of Donnelly. So Donnelly inside for Cox Goodyear. They're chasing tail here, the Magpies. The game has been really controlled by North Launceston. Burt, he's been a big part of it. That is a good grab on the edge of the square from the big fella. Wheels and goes, sells some candy, shake and bake. Hands off. Ponting caught.
Good tackle, Daly. Yeah, you mentioned Burt. He was the one, wasn't he, in that second quarter that just broke the game open.
So Joseph now, who receives from Daly, looks long. He's got a player all on his own, and it's Brennan. Eager to get going, runs into the square, hands off. A little kick inside, it will be blocked. Cox Goodyear just arches the back, hands it off. Event with time to find his coach, Whitford. It's been terrific. In a lot of ways signifies this North Launceston team, Taylor Whitford. Ruthless. A really classy player.
Oh, he's all class, isn't he?
Donnelly.
Hand and foot, terrific decision maker. Gee, they're running hard still, North Launceston.
Cox Goodyear to Bennett. He's taken a couple of metres on the mark there, Salter. Bennett inside, goes for the $1 million kick, pays off. Sharman, hands forward, potentially in the back. Yes, says the umpire. So it'll be a free kick.
Very dark
Curtis.
here now, boys. Very dark.
Yellow ball paying off. You were very critical, Brent Costello.
Just pointed out, Damien.
Very critical as Curtis kicks inside 50. Bannister sets himself. Off hands is picked up by Duffy, the unlikely crummer. On the outside of the boot, Bannister almost. Handed out by Couch, up and under. It's picked up by Whitford. Tries the impossible. Goalkeeper there to catch it right on the line.
That would have been very, very nice.
It's Jay Bowden. He's had a fair bit of footy. Hasn't been too bad. Unfortunately, it hasn't been in the damaging areas Glenorchy had liked. That's a shocker from Mott. Usually very good by foot. Try and work it out of defence, but this North Launceston swarm just keeps on happening as Cox Goodyear just deals with his opponent. Goes back. Cousins. Long. Raking ball. Bowden there. Again, the goalkeeper. Little one into the pocket. Sorry, Brownie.
I was going to say, the contested footy from North Launceston in the last hour or so of this game has been first class. They've just outworked an undermanned Glenorchy.
So Geared with the snap out. Doesn't go too far. Comes back from Mott. That's a great tackle. Their pressure and willingness to commit, even though this game is sewn up, is impressive, Brownie.
Well, any win on the road is an important win. And you're right, spot on. They've tackled really, really hard. Just Glenorchy haven't been able to find any time and space with the footy throughout this game.
Tang pops it up, comes off hands, but there's a whistle. It'll be a free kick against Zach Burt. And it'll go to Connor Salter. Wrapped up like a mummy. He'll go to Jay Bowden. Bowden, Looks to bound away. A long kick. It'll go straight to Ponting, though. Off his hands. Picked up by Sharman. Spins and hands out. Socket forward by Ponting. He's got Whitford out on his left. A little pokey kick.
It's out on the full.
Unfortunately, out on the full for North Launceston.
Well, that's the first mistake by foot for him for about a decade.
Yeah, normally very reliable. Taylor Whitford. Here's Daly. Takes the mark in the back pocket. He goes backward, and I'll tell you what, that was right on the line that Joseph took the mark. Joseph, what's up, Banks Smith? Crunching time on here, final term, and good smother there. So all the 1%ers at the moment. Taylor Whitford, very nice.
Yeah, that's right, isn't it? I mean, it'd be easy to just drop off your work rate, but leading from the front there, as you called it, Breno, with a 1%er. And it has been some of that defensive pressure that's highlighted their last 2.5 quarters in this game, where they've really put the foot to the pedal.
Duffy tapped it down, but only as far as Sharman, who throws it on the boot. And, mark couldn't be taken. Umpire's blowing the whistle. Free kick it is, Cam. And looks like it's going the way of Zach Burt.
Well, if you're Glenorchy, someone's got to get inside to stop him running around. I think Banksmith's going to be that player. Well, he's walked away from there, so you just got to be careful here. You just don't let him run around.
And that's exactly what he does, Zach Burt, but he's missed it. So, yeah, good call, Brownie, because that's exactly what he was going to do, wasn't it? And just looked almost a bit disinterested and walked off. So, Glenorchy have it now, again in the back pocket, and they just can't get it out of here at the moment. Parker eventually gets the mark and it's paid. So 50 metres as well. So,
Whitford was, I think, remonstrating that he actually touched the ball in the marking contest. Wanted to have a conversation with the umpire and might have overstepped the mark.
So Parker, so anyway, Glenorchy was going to get it out of there for, it seems, Brandy, because they just couldn't do it there. Mott, not his best kick either, and smothered but intercepted by Burt. It's a ball inside 50. It's bouncing to Couch, who kicks a goal. North Lonnie home easily here at KG5.
Well, we mentioned earlier that he hadn't been able to hit the scoreboard. He has now. And I think by my calculations, Gilly becomes their 8th goal kicker of this match. Zach Burt leads all comers with 4.
Could have been 5 if that one had a trickle through. You won't get
points.
too many easier goals than that.
60-point margin now. It really has blown out, lads.
Yeah, well, Glenorchy kicked those 2 goals in the third quarter, and there was the 50-metre penalty from Webb, and cost Goodyear with the resultant goal from that 50-metre penalty. And then since then, North Launceston have been able to slam consecutive goals. Glenorchy haven't looked like it, unfortunately, in the front half.
They've been really impressive, but Glenorchy are not the best version of themselves at the moment, it must be said.
No, you're right. There is a rider on that. There are a number of players out of their best 22 today.
Free kick for Couch, just outside the square. He hands off. Not his best handball at all. Cousins now. Usually a lovely kick, and this is no exception.
Great call, Gilly. He's a player they love giving the footy to, and he fumbled it on that occasion, but Cox knew it was Cousins running around on his left foot, and we saw him do that against Clarence a few weeks ago, boys. He was really dominant running off half-back and with numerous inside 50 entries. He started off the game pretty well today, Cousins, but he's another one that's come into this team from, I think it might have been in the NTFA last year.
Reigning Lynch medalist, Cox Goodyear, a rare error. Offline to the right.
Was it Rachel Lee?
I think he might have even been the East Coast Swans, I think they're called. But you might be right. As the ball comes long and strong from Mott. A big pack forms. That's a good clunk from Walker. Too few and far between, unfortunately, today. He heads out onto the wing and finds Banks Smith. Probably Glenorchy's best. Steers it. And it's cut off by Sharon Egger ahead of Roberts. He's had a good game as well, young Sharon Egger.
Tough for Glenorchy when you lose your skipper, isn't it? A game like this is
really
so important to him, isn't he?
And Grant's had a really good season too, boys, as that lockdown defender.
Yeah, if if you're going to lose a lockdown defender against a team, you don't want it to be North Lonnie, as this one's come along from Walker. It's out on the full. So, yeah, 61-point margin here at KG5 as we get towards the end of this contest. It's been one dominated by North Launceston. Foon with just a little kick, a little nudge up over for Richter Solder, who finds a vent. They link up so often. He goes along and finds Young in the paint of 50.
How many goals this quarter, boys? We're expecting a long quarter here. 24 minutes gone.
Not too many. It goes long, centre wing. Morgan jostles for position. He'll get a free kick, your man. Hands it off. Racing away now. Kick looking towards forward 50. It's picked up by Roberts. Cut off by Sharon Egger. He wants that footy and he gets it. Pops it up for Lee. Takes the grab, does the big ruckman. Hands off for Donnelly. At the races now. Drops it off for Walsh. He doesn't miss targets. Oh, he does. Mockers. Banksmith snares. Turns and goes. Finds Walker. Over the top. Finds Camrick. And he steers it inside for Brennan. Brennan over, looking for Gunther. But it's Young.
Well, he did the right thing, Brennan, by looking inboard, but it was just the wrong execution on that occasion by the foot.
So it's from Young to Young, who steers inside for Foon. He's had a lot of the footy, Jay Foon. Over the top from Ponting. A handball out in front of Cousins. He lets it ride, finds Burt. Burt hands out, looking for Sharman. He runs past it. Walker with a few late touches in this game. Looks long. Off the right peg. Camrick sets himself. Unfortunately, he's just got red and black all around him. Ponting races away from it. Bannister, bit part player in this team, but has an impact. A long boot. Looking for Cox Goodyear. Tipped out the back. Picks it up. Throws it on the boot.
No one
doesn't thread the needle.
He just did what he wanted to do then. No one was near him.
It's a powerful kick, Bannister. One of those players is powerful by foot. Often catches the opposition off guard because of the distance of his kick.
For those wondering, a 49-point win from the Melbourne Football Club in the AFL. This is kicked out.
Against, again, the youngest team in the competition, the Bulldogs.
Third youngest last week were Melbourne, just quietly.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Scary.
Yeah. It's with Joseph now. We should talk about this game, the one we're here for. A bit of shake and bake from Joseph. Little one for Banksmith. He's been the pick of the Maggies, I reckon. I know you'll push for Morgan, but not to be as Donnelly comes across.
Well, we've got a break in play. Just want to give a shout out to Damien Gill, who this time next week will be getting married, Brownie.
Yes. No turning back now.
Still got a week. But this time next week he'll have the ring on the finger and be a married operator.
Correct.
Don't mind it.
Comes in, Lee drops it at the foot of Walsh, and there's the siren. A thumping win from North Launceston, 13-16-94, defeats the Glenorchy Magpies, 5-2-32. And if we got anything out of today, it's that North Launceston are absolutely the team to beat.
Well, they're just such an even footy team. And we mentioned a couple of players that will come back into this team from the Mariners in Mansell and Thomas. So you would think in many respects they're probably only going to get stronger. I thought they were, since halfway through the second quarter, they were able to click into gear. And they did it on the back of some really good defensive pressure and work rate. And then they were able to, I guess, click into gear with some of their neat foot skills. Their pressure was always up, boys, I thought, today. But they're just such a dangerous combination. We often talk about their forward line, but I thought their back half was just terrific today. The way they were able to set up and repel, they were very organised, set up behind the footy, and to only allow 5 goals from the opposition was a great effort from them today. And then they just had different players to bob up. I thought Zach Burt was the one in that second quarter that just broke open the game with 3 goals. Cox Goodyear was always a dangerous player. Whitford worked his way into the game and, racked up a lot of touches. Ponting was really good, I thought. We mentioned a lot of their back half were terrific. Tang certainly plays a role for them. You know, Lee tried really hard, as he always does, in the ruck for them, but they just look a really formidable outfit coming into what, halfway mark almost of the season for Glenorchy. We've mentioned a few of them that are out, and they'll get strengthened by their return, but they're in a bit of a slump at the moment, boys. We mentioned that they will have the Tigers in North Hobart in the next couple of weeks, so an opportunity to get some consecutive wins, but they'll have to readdress some things there. Their ball movement was down a little bit today, the transition by foot, and they just weren't able to find any time and space, and particularly that forward line needs a bit of tweaking with some of the players that are out of that team today.
So a big win from North Launceston. I don't know whether you got the goal kickers there, Breno. You can run through those.
Anything for you, Damien? Yes, I can. Zach Burt had 4. 2 goals to Brad Cox-Goodyear and Taylor Whitford, and singles to Tom Bennett, Josh Ponting, Jake Pearce, Tommy Couch and Dakota Bannister. And for the Pies, 2 goals to Mitch Rainbird, singles to Mitch Walker, Jay Bowden, Ryan Banks-Smith. So I don't. How many goals after half-time for the Magpies? I think they
only got the 2 goals. I reckon one of them was to Walker from memory. And
I reckon they got
the other one was
2 goals, and I reckon they
were
both in a row.
Yep. And then, as we mentioned, it was that 50-metre penalty, and then since then, I reckon North Launceston's slammed on 6 or 7 consecutive goals, and that was the story. And look, an interesting game for them next week too, North Launceston, because I think over the next 2 weeks, they've got North Hobart and Clarence, so you would think they'd got an opportunity to get a real good win against North Hobart, but they're just a very even team, don't they? They just seem to continue on from where they left off last season. Such a terrific outfit, and they're going to obviously sew up a top 2 position before the end of the year, and then they can really just drill down and work on their game plan so it holds up in September, you would think, Gilly.
They're the team to beat, and the others are still all jostling. I think it's really tight outside that in the top 5. Any team on any given day could beat each other, I reckon.
Well, we mentioned Lauderdale, that have got their season back on track, and we'll get an opportunity to have a look at them in the next couple of weeks on the stream, because they've certainly started to get some players back, and Darren Winter, the coach. So we mentioned just the fortunes of a couple of different teams in Glenorchy and Lauderdale, for whatever reason, have flipped over the last month. But Glenorchy, we know at their best, though. Having said that, they can be a really formidable opponent. But probably today, 5 or 6 players out of that team, and just some youngsters who were probably just found out a little bit. It's got to be said, in fairness, a lot of them just making their way in the game. And North Launceston, I just thought the bigger bodies, and they were just able to break open the game. Some powerful work out of the stoppages, and then different players to roll through that forward half that became dangerous.
So a thumping win for North Launceston. That's all we've got here from KG5. Next week, the stream will head back up north for Launceston up against Clarence. We hope you enjoyed today's coverage. See you next week. Bye for now.